Welcome to another edition of Mass Mats MM. I'm your host, the Outlaw LA Red. You can find me on Twitter at JustinHarvey75. You can find the entire show across all social media at MMMshow75, right? Is that right, Byron?
Yeah, that's correct. Actually, we're working on a hashtag right now. You can join the MMM show conversation on social media with the hashtag MMM show. But we're actually, the social media department is working on a one for more brevity. It's hashtag Melissa Villasenor should go on a date with Byron if she wants to. 75.
That's a little shorter.
It's a little shorter. I'll put it in the chat room because it has, it's hard to remember. It's easier than the first one. Dinner? Meef, I'm not. Are you her agent when it comes to that sort of thing?
He's asking if you're Dutch or if you're a real man.
No, I'll pay. I can afford any dinner once. You know what I mean? I'll pick up the tab.
You can afford any dinner once?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll remember that.
We go to.
I'll remember that next time you want something to happen on the show. You can afford any dinner once.
Once, but then after that, I might have to sell everything.
I like one good meal. I'm fine with that. Where the hell do people find you? Forget about hashtag Melissa Villasenor should
it rolls right off the tongue.
No, not at all.
Easier than MMM show.
Show.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. But this one, there's.
Okay, well, where do we find you and why?
At Byron Fever, and you want to find me because you want to find good content and know what I had for lunch.
Okay. Meatloaf, across the pond, how's it going?
I'm all right. It's been a bit of a manic weekend. I've got family here from Florida, so I've been busy as well.
Oh,
wait, you've got relatives that are from Florida?
They're from St. Petersburg.
Okay, that's not too bad. If you'd have said Tampa, we'd have had to talk.
If you would have said West Palm Beach, I would have been knocking on doors.
Palm, what? Yeah, Byron can build them a house.
No? Have you seen my show?
Hey, I think you guys build quality materials.
I think we make a really good show.
Well, look, it's been a very slow week in wrestling and combat sports.
You want to talk about boxing?
It's been I think we should talk about curling, maybe.
Ooh,
I've been painting.
Meef, you've been painting?
Get a really good stroke. Yeah, I painted my cabinet that I built last weekend. So
why is that?
Talk about perfect strokes.
Why is that chocolate mannequin still facing the wall?
Yeah,
because it's got a package.
Oh,
I got a theory. I got a conspiracy.
It's like an anatomically correct Mark Hunt doll, huh?
Oh God, can I tell you that there's I don't know if people. I know there's a head writer of one of the writers of Lucha Underground. His Chris DeJoseph. I don't know if he has social media, but if you know him, you might want to let him know it's like the Mark Hunt doll, but there's a picture of a Chris DeJoseph doll going around the internet. I don't know where it came from.
Oh, that's awesome. Chris D has a DJ has a doll.
DJ has a doll.
We gotta find that. We'll post it on the MMM show page if we find it. I'll track it down. We'll post it on the MMM show page.
If you know it's social media, definitely let them know about it.
But is it like a Chris DeJoseph and Lucha Underground doll, or is it like a Big Dick Johnson WWE kind of doll or something?
Well, Lucha doesn't have
Small Dick Johnson. Wow.
That's his indie gimmick.
I wouldn't know. Just saying.
Listen.
It's his indie gimmick.
It's his indie gimmick. He takes his WWE gimmick
D
and puts a little slant on it.
Just delete letters, you'll be fine.
Why do you know so much about it, Meef? Hey, by the way, thanks to Meef for his amazing Photoshop skills for doing our graphics for MMM show. Unrelated.
Totally unrelated. Well, he also did the Jimskay shirt. I don't know if people know that, but Meef did the design on the Jimskay shirt, which does not come out well on the what was it, the one that fabric. Casey got.
Does it come out well on the fabric?
It looks quality.
Mine looks great. I think the way to go is black shirt. So when we re-release that, that'll be a black shirt only special. We will only release it on the material on which it works properly. Because awesome. I believe Casey's was not so grand. So my first hot take, I normally don't start with UFC, but I'm going to start with Colby Convington, even though Jim's not here. And if Jim shows up, Jim can chime in on this. Colby Convington is the best heel out there worldwide right now. This kid, and if you don't know who he is, he's a UFC fighter. He's now the interim, welterweight champion. Is that it? 170? Yeah. The interim 170 welterweight champion in absence of Tyron Woodley, who has been off doing Hollywood stuff and having elective surgeries, which is not typically something a champion does, but, you know, to each his own. I think he thought the number one contender spot needed some sussing out anyway, so he figured now was as good a time as any to get his shoulder in order or whatever he's doing. But anyway, so this kid, Colby Convington, he's talked shit on Brazilians. He's now talking shit on Jim's hometown of Philadelphia. Wait,
is that why he's heated up?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Jim is super duper hot at this kid because the Philadelphia Eagles said that they weren't going to come to the White House to meet Trump. And this kid was like, fuck you guys. I'm going to go show up with my new belt. He won this interim belt last night. He's like, I'm going to show up and put it on Trump's desk tomorrow, which is great.
Trump's not there.
Yeah, well, who cares?
So
does he know the God Bless America song?
Yeah. What? God Save the Queen. What?
God Bless America or whatever. One of those songs. It's
the national anthem. Is that the one you're trying to figure out?
No, the other one.
Wasn't it Deutschland über alles? What?
I like that one.
Me for side right now.
So look, here's my question for you guys. I know what my opinion is. If you are an athlete that wins a championship, should you go to the White House as a part of celebrating that national championship with the leader of the nation?
No. I mean, is UFC even fall into sport?
It's a sport. I mean, it's a national.
No, but it's not like a national. You know, it's kind of if they win the world. If USA won the World Cup, yeah. I mean, Americans seem to think that when they win baseball, they've won the world championship, but no other country's playing it. So
suck it.
Fuck it. It's not the World Series, is it?
Well, I mean, you're discounting Canada as a country. There's Canadians in that league. I mean, that makes it at least a North American league.
The players are from all over the world, from America to Costa Rica, Puerto Rico.
North America.
Yeah, but when's the last time you played baseball?
Never. We play rounders like real men.
Look, I would say this: the World Cup is getting more popular in America, but by and large, I would imagine that just as many Americans know who Colby Convington is at this point than anyone on our world soccer team.
I don't know who that guy is.
Landon Donovan.
Just saying, that's America for you. We like our football. We like our basketball. We like our baseball. And when I say football,
I don't understand.
What? What don't you understand?
Why they go to the president? I don't understand the whole thing. I don't understand the orange twat. But in this country, it's just you do a parade in your town. That's it. You know, I think if England won the World Cup, then yes, maybe the Queen might have some or do something in London. But you know, I'm not being disrespectful to American sports, but the World Cup is bigger than anything in America. It's watched by far more people.
World Cup's
winning
big.
That is like, yeah, we're talking most of the known world watches that.
Byron, would you go see the president if you won a major sporting title?
I think it depends. I think I mean there's reasons that people have turned it down in the past, but I think a reason to meet him now is like if you want to make a political statement, I think the avenue to go about that now is to go and talk to him because
that's what I'm saying. I'm with you.
Oh,
he seems to respond like Kim Kardashian.
If I was a Mexican,
but that's the thing. Like,
if I was Mexican, I'd go and just come in his face and go, "Fuck you! If you think you're superior, you white piece of shit."
I don't even know if you give him the big fuck you. Like, look, I think Colby Convington, it's hilarious because he's saying all these things that an average, not even a crazy rhetorical Trump supporter would say, but an average Trump supporter would say. He's not saying anything crazy or outrageous by this country's standards, but he's the heel. People don't get it. It's like, guys, he's playing a thing. If you don't get that Colby Convington is completely full of shit and playing a thing, you're insane. And the fact that he wants to go see Trump, it's the biggest insult out there. It's amazing. He's going to go and show up with his UFC belt and pretend to be friends with Trump just to get more heel heat as a real fighter, not a pro wrestler, as a real fucking fighter. But
he's doing a publicity stunt.
I'm tired of people doing shit like this. The world isn't about fucking TV. The world isn't about fucking TV. Kim Kardashian, go fuck us. Like all these pieces of shit.
Here's the thing.
All these people. Yeah, even about prisons. She's a fucking moron. Her entire fash.
But Trump understands her.
And like she shouldn't be allowed anywhere near the fucking White House unless it's possibly to be shot.
We don't typically shoot people right there at the White House.
No.
We have Guantanamo.
All these people nowadays, like they do shit, and all these sports stars are doing things to be heel or get publicity, and it's like, just go and do your fucking job. Just do your fucking job.
Do it. That is the job. That's the job. Yeah. Colby Convington getting eyeballs to the UFC. But he's bringing it's real world shit that he's fucking with. Is it?
Like calling out, like it's not like calling out fucking Hulk Hogan, is it? Like
no, he's calling out the Philadelphia Eagles. He's calling out the Philadelphia Eagles, which is equally not real world shit.
First of all, when you Google top 10 worst sports fans, 3 categories, like at least 3 notches of the top 10 worst sports fans are Philly sports fans. They're used multiple times. I love Philly, but let's be real, and let's be real about people from Philly. In fact, you can look up an amazing video by Bill Burr, who he had a few wonderful things to say about them, and they were well deserved.
Jim is going to murder you.
Put it on the MMMshow website.
Ignore the Philly thing. Just think about it as anything in general.
Let's harp on
it's real world shit. When you talk about Donald Trump, this is a guy who legitimately believes that white people are superior to other people. And when you start going and like pulling shit, like going, "Oh, I'm going to have Trump support and all this shit to get eyes on you," you're putting a fucking target on your back, and it's not a good one.
What I say is you go, you smile, you shake hands, you do the photo op, then you step outside and you talk to all the media and tell them all what you don't support about him or what you do support about him. And then the entire story that goes in the paper the next day is the photo of you guys shucking and jiving and holding hands. But then the story that goes with it is whatever your real statement is. My whole thing is, why don't people want to get over? It doesn't matter if it's a sports team, if it's Colby Convington or whatnot. It's like people have lost the art of getting over. And they're so goddamn surprised when someone comes along that's actually good at it. Like when CM Punk was in the WWE. Not like how he is in the UFC, which I'll talk about shortly. But like Colby Convington is doing. Colby Convington is not a smart guy. He's not that adept at speaking. He's not that great a fighter. And yet he's getting opportunities that most of these other idiots are not getting simply because he knows how to get himself over a little bit. So many people have forgotten how to do that. You know what? I think Penta and Fenix should take those MLW tag team titles that they just got, and they should go to the White House. They should have a shake, a how do you do with Donald Trump. And the next day, they should come out in the newspaper along with that photo and say whatever they think about his wall or his ideas or what he thinks about Mexicans.
Would they even be allowed anywhere near it? Would they be allowed anywhere near it? Even though you would technically say that it's a legitimate championship in America, and if every champion's supposed to be going there, then
Trump's an egomaniac. Anybody who says yes, I'd love to come meet the president and show off this championship, he'd say, that's right, they all love me, they want to come see me, and he would use that and try to twist it his own way, and then he'd come out in the media the next day, and when you said your thing, he'd say his thing, and it'd be a big stink. But why not? If the guy's just going to be a mouthpiece and doing that kind of stuff, that's fine. Politics aside, there's plenty of publicity. Obama did tons of publicity too. I mean, he knew how to put himself over. Trump knows how to put himself over. And anybody who's not taking advantage of either of those two guys for themselves to put themselves over is stupid. If you have a forum to do it, do it. That's me. That's what I would do. If I were Colby Convington, I would go to Washington, D.C. I would shake Donald Trump's hand and I would put the belt on his desk.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a message.
Yeah, he does. Book me in another fight and pay me a lot of money for it. That's a great message.
It's a publicity stunt. But I think there's a lot of athletes who feel a certain way, but they're athletes. They're not, advocates. And so they may want to take a stand, but they may not want to get all too involved. They just may be put off by Trump and they don't want to deal with him. But there's ones that are more outspoken and educated, like Colin Kaepernick. He should be working, or someone should be working overtime to get him to talk to Trump.
Yeah, but look, Colin Kaepernick got the ball started. He shouldn't do anything else now. He's too much of a target. But my whole thing is, okay, even if he's
the guy who's got to take the bullet.
Even if you're a second string defensive lineman on the Philadelphia Eagles, you go and you show up at the White House, you shake his hand, you take that stupid photograph, and then you walk outside and you tell the press you don't like what he's doing for inner city Philadelphia and the poor population there. You instantly reached more people in a positive manner that might actually do something for your cause than you boycotting seeing him at all or going there and completely disregarding the public forum and opportunity of meeting a world leader, regardless of what you think of that leader.
The problem is with the American media is that won't come up. It'll just be, they went there and any form of turning up there is seen as support for him, and he sees it as support for him. Even if you turn around and call him a dick, he's like, well, you turned up, and that's all that matters. They take a picture, they edit it how they want it to appear on TV or in the papers, and the real story won't get anywhere near.
Yeah, but the thing is, nowadays, honestly, especially right now, people want that alternative story because it keeps the news cycle going with more dreck and nonsense. And honestly, you do have more of a forum if you actually go. Because both sides will get hurt just so they can keep the argument going.
Here's a question. Who do you guys think would win in Lucha Underground in a fight? Donald Trump or the limo guy?
We don't know who the limo guy is. If the limo guy is Masquerita Sagrada, then Trump wins.
I'm not afraid to take a stand. Trump has a win at WrestleMania under his belt, right?
I don't know if I know he was there.
Was Joseph writing them as well?
I don't think Joseph wrote Trump.
Imagine that.
Vince probably wrote Trump himself.
Bobby Lashley.
Oh God.
Oh
Jesus.
Leave his sisters alone.
Well, before I leave UFC,
since we're harping on Philly so much, we need to get to the bottom of this and just figure out who's better, Pat's or Geno's. Sub question: how do I get a sandwich from both places right now?
Who the fuck are they?
Oh, you're talking about Philly cheesesteaks?
Yes.
So my problem is I don't like whiz. I like provolone on my cheesesteaks, and both those places are famous for their whiz.
What do you think about whizzing, Meef?
Wait.
You like it in your mouth?
Yeah, like a Philly.
Yeah. So these two places are supposed to be the best of the best.
Yeah.
And they use some fake ass shit from a can.
You can still get provolone or something else, but the whiz is the way that most people like to go with it.
It's from the streets, Meef. You wouldn't know anything about that.
I just probably need to eat some like half decent food.
I mean, there's people out there that swear the best mac and cheese in the world, the best gourmet mac and cheese in the world is made with Velveeta.
Ooh. Is that a real cheese? Is that a real food, Velveeta, or is it like melted plastic?
I don't know. I don't eat that shit. I don't eat Miracle Whip, Velveeta, or Cheese Whiz, or Easy Cheese.
Easy Cheese? How hard was it to begin with?
I don't mess with that stuff.
Yeah.
All right, look. So one more thing I want to talk about with the UFC last night, which, by the way, was a really great show. As I said, Colby Convington went over on RDA. I said went over like it was a wrestling match. Yeah, it was a good fight. Colby Convington just kind of, he swarmed him. He came with lots of crazy stuff from different directions and really had RDA's number. The main event was a little harder to dissect. Hector Lombard, or not Hector, he looks like Hector Lombard. Why do I want to say that? Yoel Romero, good Lord. They're both really, really big, muscular guys. Yoel Romero looked like a beast and somehow still lost the fight. He came in overweight, which was not surprising, which has happened before. But the weird thing was the Illinois Commission gave Hector Lombard a chance to cut the weight that he was over. And so they went back to the room. They take a little bit of a break because he's been cutting all day and he's not doing great. But they finally start cutting the weight again. And for some reason, the commission shows up and tells them they're done. They don't get any more time, even though they were told they had 2 hours. They made him go weigh in right then, and he was 0.2 pounds over the limit for the fight to be for the belt. But they stopped him before the amount of time that they said he had to cut. So I don't quite...
So you could have cut that.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a piece of shit for coming in overweight again for whatever reason. I mean, he's done this before, and it's ridiculous. Dana White's talking about possibly making him go up a weight class. And it's like, it's a title fight, bro. You get your weight together. You shouldn't be doing the whole thing right at the last minute like that anyway. You know. But Robert Whittaker, the Australian, had a great fight, but broke his hand early in it. And there's not much to say about it one way or the other than it was a weird ending. And the thing I can't figure out about the UFC right now is what is a 10-8 round. So if anybody has an idea on what a 10-8 round actually looks like, show me, post me a link. Please tell me. I don't quite get it.
Did we see
one? 10-0 looks like.
The Punk fight wasn't even 10-8, was it?
Yeah.
10-0.
One of the rounds in the Punk fight, I think, got scored at 10-8. I think
3?
Michael Jackson, which is hilarious. Mike Truth Jackson beat CM Punk handily, and showboated through it, but didn't put CM Punk away. I mean, it was so weird to see that on a UFC pay-per-view. Like, look, I know CM Punk is a draw and he has his fans, and I was behind CM Punk trying the MMA thing. Like, look, he made a lot of money. He's worked hard his whole life. This was his dream. He's afforded the opportunity of doing that. He's trained for 4 years now, though, guys. 4 years. And I'm here to tell you, I would have had a better fight than CM Punk. Okay.
He had no MMA instinct.
He's not a real martial artist. It just shows that he hasn't picked up the techniques. Sure, he can throw a punch. Sure, he's got grit, he's got fortitude, and I appreciate that. But at best, he's an amateur that should be another amateur sparring partner. He just had zero place in a professional ring. Mike Jackson, his opponent, has no place really in a professional MMA fight.
Yeah. He,
at least, however, is a boxer, done a little bit of kickboxing. I've actually seen him live out in Dallas, I believe it was, when I was in Texas for something. And that was a long time ago.
What did you think of Dana White's comments about the fight?
I don't disagree. Dana White, though, was very down on Mike Jackson. But I don't know what else Mike was going to do. I don't know that Mike could have. I don't know that Mike could have put CM Punk away. I don't know that Mike's good enough to do that. Yeah. I mean, it's like, Dana, if you want to know whose fault this is, it's yours.
I think when
someone's going to destroy him if you want that.
When you see how like Mike Jackson was taking a selfie while getting his hand raised and how he was acting, and like when he had Punk down, he wasn't even looking at Punk. He was looking at the corner the whole time, and maybe he couldn't do anything more than he did, but that still makes him bad.
Maybe they told him not to kill him.
A legitimate fighter would have just boxed with Punk, knocked him out in the first round.
Right. But he's not. And here's the other thing that, when Punk went for the takedown, I think that caught Mike Jackson off guard too, because Mike Jackson is a crap wrestler and crap at jiu-jitsu. And being on top, he doesn't know a lot of groundwork. Mike's a stand-up fighter and not a great one at that. So what was he going to do? He's looking at his corner like, what do I do now? And the guy hit the lottery. I mean, this is like literally when poor folks hit the lottery, never had a dime in their lives. How do you expect them to act? Of course they're going to go buy a giant Cadillac the next day and go to the casino and go to the strip club. Like, they've been poor their whole lives. They don't know what to do with money. What does Mike know what to do? I know
what you're referring to, and that's offensive.
Mike doesn't know what to do with a pay-per-view fight at UFC, being an 0-1 professional fighter that lost miserably to Mickey Gall just like CM Punk did. Neither of those two guys deserve to be there. Neither of them knew what the hell they were doing. Look, CM Punk puts asses in seats.
So this is a fight of the losers.
Yeah, both of these guys got beat by Gall.
Yeah, but I think
it's finished 15th.
Yeah,
but I think Dana White's point was very important to make. Like, both these guys don't belong in the UFC octagon ever again. However, one of them,
but why does he do it then?
And the other one just sucks. Like,
yes,
Mike Jackson had an opportunity to prove that he could do something, and Punk was just. Yeah, you expected the worst out of Punk, and he showed heart, and that's great. And you go, all right, keep the gloves off, you're done, but good for you. The other guy, it's like you fought some dude off the street who fought like he never had a training session before, and you couldn't do anything.
It's just really a shame, though, because CM Punk also, I think, did himself a bit of a disservice by not playing the game more. It's like, you know what? If you're going to take an ass beating anyway, go out there, talk shit, hype the crowd a little bit, let people get into MMA and get behind you for their love of the sport. Make a little bit more of a spectacle out of it than he did. And it's a shame, and it didn't fare well. But like, if you look at guys like Herschel Walker, did the same thing. He had 2 fights in Strikeforce, real MMA fights. They were kind of against tomato cans, but he won. He went and he did the work. He did the time. He learned some real jiu-jitsu. He learned some real MMA striking. I really, and I also blame Duke Rufus's camp. I'm not thrilled with Duke Rufus's camp. I think they did a shit job with Pettis. I think they're not helping Tyron Woodley out the way that they should right now. Duke Rufus was a great trainer 10 years ago. Rose Namajunas had to leave there, and she's with Trevor Whitman now because of whatever went down with her at that camp and Pat Barry. I don't know what's going on at Rufus Sport right now, but I don't like it. I don't like the way it's manifesting itself to us out here in the public on the other end of it. Maybe there was something great there at some point in time, but it's gone. And I encourage all the fighters that are at Rufus Sport to find a new home. Go to ATA, go to Jackson Winklejohn, come out here to LA, go train with Perillo and Big Bear, whatever. But I think Rufus Sport is done. I think what they did with CM Punk is despicable. I think you give Greg Jackson 4 years with that guy, and he wins that fight last night. It's that simple. I think, CM Punk is only an avatar for the training at a certain point in time. He's athletic enough, though I don't know if I'd consider him a real athlete or a premier athlete at 39 years old. And his body's had a lot of wear and tear from wrestling. People don't really take into account how much stress wrestling can do on your body. And there's ways to hide it and stay in wrestling longer and older, but there's no way to hide that from another professional sport that rigorously requires specific things of your body, and that some of which CM Punk's body may never be able to accomplish. But
you're on the road eating trash and then having to constantly work out to get rid of that trash, keep your body in shape. So you're constantly doing shit to your body that's going up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah,
that shit, when you get to a certain age, it's like a fucking ton of bricks.
Yeah, and CM Punk just wasn't there. But again, I think that different coaching, a different environment, a different attitude and take towards the whole thing could have produced something far more credible than what CM Punk did. Anyway, humiliating. I think Dana White is correct to be embarrassed. I don't know that his venom towards Mike Jackson was warranted, but that also proves even more why Mike Jackson should have done exactly what he did. Try to garner himself a little something out of it. He's an MMA journalist as well. And he's the I think main photographer for LFA. Anyway,
that guy.
It was his one big shot at the big time, and he'll be known for it for the rest of his life. So why not showboat a little bit,
And he can write a big story on it.
But when
he can make a big lot of money like that.
It's embarrassing to go up against a guy like CM Punk and have it go to a decision.
I don't disagree with that, but it did, and I don't know that it was ever not going to, and I don't know that he did the best that he could with it, but I think he thought he was doing the best that he could with it. So what are you going to say?
I think he's dumb, but yeah.
Yeah, well, he's a fighter.
Boxers who have been fed pure garbage, whereas these two are pretty much on the same level of garbage.
Well, I mean, the whole point was they couldn't find it,
and it's gone to a decision.
They couldn't find anyone more garbage to feed CM Punk to than this guy.
James Ellsworth.
Yeah.
The whole point was, Michael
Ellsworth
Jackson
would fucking beat him.
Ellsworth would beat either one of those guys.
Down the car park. Yeah.
Corey Graves will fight him.
You can't fucking choke him out. He's got no chin.
So, who all we got? Who all we got in the chat room, Byron? We got Rebecca, Paul,
she said something like, "No, I knew I liked Justin for a reason."
Chuck B, racist fan.
Racist fan is here. Paulie Cross is here.
Paulie Cross. That's
I'm not upset anybody yet by being hungry ever.
Good to see you again.
I agree with everything that Paul Cross says.
CM Punk is an athlete, but he's an athlete. He's not a fighter.
I don't know that he's an athlete. I don't know that he's an athlete.
There are different types of athletes. Let's just put it that way. I could be quite a good athlete in certain sports right now.
No, but
leave it to...
I'm not saying that that he's not athletic, but I don't think that he's an athlete. And the difference with an athlete is there's a certain level of competition, strategy, playing to win that I don't know that CM Punk was ever exposed to. I mean, there's that wrestler's mentality of being an athlete. And I believe in the UFC that there's athletes and then there's fighters, and they are a different breed too. And then there's martial artists. I think that there's 3 types of fighters you get in the UFC: athletes, fighters, and martial artists. And they are all very, very different personas, and each one of those things can be successful. Though I find that the athletes in the UFC, they have a lot of trouble staying at the top. These are the guys that once they finally get there and they've gotten the belt or they've gotten to a certain level, really fade fast because they don't have it in their heart after they've reached their goal. Like, I think Weidman was that. I think Johnny Hendricks was like that. A lot of these guys that were guaranteed, bona fide, great athletes. I even think Ryan Bader has been like that to a certain extent. Those guys are athletes. They're not fighters, though. They don't have that fighter mentality where they feel like they have to scrap and fight for everything they get in their lives. They feel like if they train hard, work hard, they get what they deserve. And then once those guys have kids or settle down a little bit and they've got the house and the house note and the car payment, they don't fight the same way. They just don't. They look at it differently. They don't want to get all beat up in their faces. They're not crazy fighters anymore. And then we have
something less dangerous.
But
in football, soccer, we have Brazilian footballers. Now, Brazilians, as you probably guess, everybody loves Brazil playing football. When those guys get to like 24, 25, not only have they been playing in big, physical, it's quite physical, from 16 years old, maybe 15 years old in the first team, they're made. They've come to Europe. They've gone from like nothing. They've got millions of dollars. Their entire family is now set. They don't need to kill themselves. And you always see them drop off. There's only a few Brazilians who have stayed at the top level.
Yeah, because they get the money and they're good.
30s in the modern era. Ronaldinho's the best. He's 26 and he just started going downhill.
Well, there's a lot of fighters that are like that too. I mean, I think Rafael dos Anjos lost last night is like that. I mean, I don't know. It's It's weird because the simple fact of the matter is, to get to the top, you have to have a certain amount of drive. And it doesn't necessarily matter how that manifests itself. People can hate on Colby Covington all they want right now. And I don't think he's necessarily even good at being a heel, but he's at the top of the heel game across the board right now because he has more drive. He doesn't break character. Even last night when he's on doing commentary, going back and forth with the desk guys at UFC or doing the post-fight press conference, he didn't break character. And we know that it's an act to a certain extent, but he kayfabed it all the way through. And I don't think there's any reason for it other than the fact that he has a high level of determination right now as a person, as an individual. I think Conor McGregor did that. I think a lot of these guys do that. There are ways where you can will yourself to the top. You still have to have a certain amount of basic ability. You have to have a certain amount of performance. But the other thing is you got guys like Kamaru Usman who are great, but he's not getting to the top because he doesn't know how to push himself. He doesn't have the same level of determination. I don't know. And it's the same in wrestling too. I think you see guys like Kevin Cross is getting over world round because of his level of determination. Are there guys out there that are equally tough with a great look and style as Kevin that could probably be at the same spot he's at right now after a few years? Sure. But at the same time, they can't be because they don't have the level of determination that he has. They don't have the same kind of drive. They don't go outside of their way to make their own videos and T-shirts and talk to fans and get on podcasts and stuff like that. There's ways to put yourself over. Like, I'm sorry, but look at AR Fox. Dear Lord, AR Fox now, if he had started using social media 2 years ago, he'd be where Shane Strickland is right now. But he's not. He's absolutely 100% not. People do not know who AR Fox is, and it's his own fault. You know?
AR Fox is the man, though.
Yeah, well, if he's the man, he should win the belt and go to the White House and put it on Trump's desk.
I don't think he can get like DOD clearance to go to the White House.
You're missing my point, though. It's not about specifically doing that. It's about knowing when to put yourself over. It's about knowing how to entertain fans, how to put together a presentation that makes you something that people care about.
Yeah.
Even if you hate Colby Covington, like, come on, look at our DM. Is there any reason why Jim Velasco should know or care anything about Colby Covington whatsoever? At all. In any fashion. There's no reason at all for Jim Velasco to care anything about Colby Covington. Jim is more successful at life as a person. Everything in his life is great compared to Colby Covington. Yet Colby Covington had Jim fucking pissed yesterday. I mean, he had Jim Superfly T and T angry.
Did Jim work out today? Maybe that's why he's so bad in a bad mood, because he works out every day, and if he didn't hit the gym, I could see him being a little bit cranky.
That's funny that right when I started talking about Cross is exactly when he started retweeting us. So weird.
Let's talk about this shit right now. AAA, they had some show and they had a hashtag, and it wasn't as easy as our hashtag.
What's our hashtag?
Melissa Villaseñor should go on a date with Byron if she wants to discuss all things MMM show. So I couldn't get in on the conversation for their show. A lot of cool stuff happened. However,
what was the hashtag for their show?
Escalando Velasquez or something?
What? What meef?
It's fuck Psycho Clown.
Offensive. No. That's offensive.
If he fucking.
But here's the thing: Vampiro retired again. Lucha Blog is just.
Whoa.
He's working overtime.
He didn't retire. He was retired.
Vampiro is doing a retirement gimmick, and then Cross posted a still from the show.
What I'm saying to you is
I remember Throwback Thursday, whatever, to the time I had to check Vampiro's pulse. And it was right after he sidoed him. Jesus Christ. Cross murdered a living Canadian vampire.
/legend hero.
/legend. I love Vampiro. Mad respect.
Cross the Vampire Slayer. You nearly got that. You nearly got Kevin Cross's head on Buffy's body midweek.
What? No, but Kevin Cross is awesome in AAA right now. But I think that's big news. Like, he dropped Vampiro on his head, and Vampiro's like, my doctor said, hey, you should cut this out and not get dropped on your head anymore.
Well,
which means Cross is going to lose to Vampiro Mania.
Cross is going to get the belt from Double J and then drop it to Vampiro.
Okay, well, let's talk about this show, because there were a few interesting things. The first thing I want to talk about is the promo spot with Juvi and Vampiro. What the ever living fuck? That was the point in time when I was just like, oh wow, AAA went back to this already.
That was great. Juvi's like, I
that was in
my segment. That was so good.
Yeah.
No, I mean, but do you think that I almost feel like that was a rib in the back by Konnan, and maybe even Konnan and Vampiro, of like, hey, if we do this, people will think we're still like just doing the same shit AAA crap that we always do, and then we can swerve them with something more interesting and better. Like it. I hated it. I hated it so much. I was like, I can't believe they're ruining this mad angle already. Juvi looks weak. This whole thing looks stupid. Vampiro's putting himself over. But then I realized by the time it was over that was the perfect setup for me to not expect everything else that happened. And if that was done intentionally, that's bloody brilliant.
Wasn't that on the undershow?
Do that? Do they
Because there was like a weird...
Do they do like a two-step story that isn't just like a swerve? Like,
what were you saying, Meef? Like, yeah, it was right after the second match or first match, or so. It was early.
Yeah, because what really confused me was like they had the introduction and then they had the introductions again, and they played a video package later on, so it was almost like this was an undercard bit. Really weird.
Well, and I don't know, because I'm watching the whole thing on Twitch.
And I understand the Spanish.
And I don't even know how this event's getting broken up for TV. If this was just a standalone event to be the way it is, or if it was getting broken up as a TV taping. I never know that stuff with AAA, because I never watch their actual broadcast feed stuff. You know, and they have weird syndication deals where their show airs all at strange times. Like they're as hard to follow as Ring of Honor at times.
Yeah, they had a show like, which wasn't like all the big names there, but that was shown on some Mexican TV station.
All right, so Mexican.
Maybe locally. Take it
easy.
You're hilarious, Byron. So,
Psycho Clown.
Anyway, I just I found that segment to be irritatingly bad AAA. In their standard bad AAA form, and I was a little mad. I was like, oh, I want Juvi to get over, but if this is what they're going to do, and I thought that Juvi was kind of overplaying it, and Vamp was overplaying it, and the crowd was buying into it, and I was mad at them. I was just like, what is happening? How did this all go to shit? Now, once again, though, the opening match, straight fire. Don't know who's booking these things, how it's happening, but holy shit.
That's what they're doing. The thing that Nitro used to do back in the day. You just put a bunch of crazy guys who do a bunch of crazy stuff, and you tell them.
It's better than the Nitro stuff, though, because they were trying to still agent the Nitro stuff and kind of, I don't know, push those guys in certain directions, or sometimes they try to have a purpose to the match other than a good match. This, I don't know what it is, but there's something about those matches that just feels great.
I mean, the replay can't even keep up with the match. It's just so.
Well,
AAA replays are infamously not worth watching.
Just wait for someone to gif it.
Well, yeah, and typically whenever AAA does finally show a replay, it's like, I don't know, in the middle of an Apuestas reveal where someone's getting demasked or something ridiculous. Like it's never at the right time anyway.
We're not mentioning demasking.
Oh God, shouldn't we?
Is it? It was a thing. Every single match, they're ripping off their masks. Like Psycho Clown got his mask ripped off, and he just had a legit mask match. Like you could have a match.
Yeah, he's lost it now. That's it. Done.
Like you can have a mask match where you get a payday for losing your mask, or you could just have a regular match, and a guy can rip it off, or even when you win the match, and you don't get a payday. Like that's the opposite of what you do as a wrestler. As a wrestler, you should find a way to maximize the money you make off of everything that you do.
Yeah, put yourself over.
But don't take your mask off in a regular match for free.
They've been doing that forever, and guys half covering their faces.
Yeah. I don't know. It just
sometimes you get to tear a little bit.
There's that, and I get like if you want to bleed and you wear a mask, you gotta do something. But it's like every single match they were ripping the mask off. Was there a match where a guy? No, that was New Japan, where Desperado in the Super Juniors, he had his mask stolen, but he had long hair, so his hair covered his face, and then he won the match somehow, and then he went under the ring and found a good mask, like his mask, the second one, and put it on immediately. It was weird.
But in Lucha Libre, isn't it automatic end of the match when someone takes the mask off? That's it.
Typically,
they just cut it. Disqualification counted. Yeah.
Guys get their masks yanked all the time, and they cover up, or you get little glimpses of them. I mean, they want that to happen.
It'll be funny, but we've all seen Phantasma's face.
I barely know what he looks like, though.
I'm sure you've seen more. That's why the statue in the background.
Hey, Meef, I've got a question for you. What do you think about the Hydra's wrestling?
Ooh,
best thing ever.
The wrestling?
Better than
or just her
wrestling?
Just everything about her.
Well, she actually looked pretty decent in her match at Verano. Can I say that right? Verano de Escandalo. Scandalo. I can't say regular.
Just say Scandal. Oh,
Scandal.
No, yeah, Marco's offered to try and
Verano de Escandalo.
Calm down, Lucha.
That's a very famous accent.
My Tejano.
Tejano.
No, but look, I'm not trying to diss on your girl, but this was one of the first times where I was just like, yeah, she looks really good in this match. I thought that whole match was actually really good. Which Mamba, Pimpinella, Black Danger, Lady Shani, and Hydra. Right? I think I missed somebody, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, it was good.
Kira, was that the lady? Kira?
Kira was whatever, Anyway, I thought that was decent. And then the actual mad match. I felt like something bigger was coming because of where they put this match in the card. At first, I was like, I saw the Hoovy segment come really early with Vamp. Then I saw where they were placing this match, and I was like, oh man, their heat's gone. They're not getting the rub on anything. This sucks. So at first I was kind of bummed, but then the addition of Tejano with Hoovy and Cross actually worked and didn't feel as baffling as when it was announced. And then the match was good, and I feel bad for Pagano because Cross did very bad, evil things to him. Like threw him off the top rope through a table that did not look like it wanted to break, but broke anyway.
He was definitely killing people that day.
Yeah. I think this was also a better use of Cross specifically than the match that he had previous to this one. Where the work rate didn't have the kind of flow that I think it should have. I think that this was a better use of him. I think he's either going to be better in singles, where he can actually build some psychology behind the stories, or trios matches. I don't know that tag matches is a good spot for him with what they're presenting. That's just my opinion, though. I thought that he looked really good here.
I mean, it was a little weird. You were wondering last time we were talking about Teddy Hart, about how it seems they're shoehorning.
I think Teddy Hart's still coming around, but he just his dates were messed up.
But like, why?
They did mention him in one of the.
Like, it was impressive that they addressed that Tejano and Cross didn't like each other, but now they're cool. And Cross shook his hand and made
but to be honest with you,
psychopath faces. But as
roster
storylines there.
Well, I think that Cross supports anything that is destabilizing the system, and I think that right now he believes that Tejano is on the side of destabilization, and if Tejano crosses back over to being a company man, I think Cross will put him back in line. Yeah. I think that's just kind of how that's going to work in general. I think that it's
the enemy of my enemy.
Yeah,
I agree though that I do want to see. I was left wanting to see Cross on his own a lot more.
I don't know though, because Hoovy looked great too with the frog splash and his elbow and
the elbow.
They don't tag together. Well, you can do the brawls together, but
again, I don't know. I think this was a great style of work for them too, because it did leave you wanting more. It left you in a spot where you're like, hey, what's going on? And say what you want about Pagano, but the guy bumps, and I like his bumps, and he seems to get up from his bumps when they're done for the most part. So kudos to Pagano.
I was so bad though, because like he's so good in terms of presentation. Everything about him is like you want to love him.
What, Pagano?
And then he kind of stumbles around the ring.
Well, and then he'll have one of those
his attitude and the music. I think everything in terms of a presentation of the person, character, is great.
The problem. I think one of the problems with AAA is, anytime they have something that presents itself as great, even in a portion, they end up having to overuse it. The roster just doesn't stay deep enough right now for them to do more than that, which is a shame. And I think that Pagano's actually been a victim of that. So, but there's ways to avoid that. And I feel like bringing these guys in that they're bringing in right now, and spending a little bit of money, because obviously AAA is spending some money to make these things happen, probably at the behest of Conan. That
well, I will say one thing. Marco pointed this out to me. I didn't know if you guys knew this, but WWE is now going to be on a free channel in Mexico.
Interesting.
So it's going to be on free TV. So it's a bit like kind of like here we have satellite and it's on the sports net package.
So let's
but
talk
it's not
about
like
that.
the same packages that you play. So I think that is a big thing why this whole thing's blew up.
Yeah, I mean,
they've got all the guys in Mexico have now got to fight against the WWE invading, because I mean WWE invaded here really in the early 90s. We were dying off anyway in the UK because it was ridiculously stupid. But
that's what they all should be doing, and that's what it feels like the whole pro wrestling business is doing in general. They're girding up their loins, and reinforcing the lines for protection against WWE. I don't think anyone's trying to fight WWE or go toe to toe with them, but certainly AAA doesn't want to lose any ground to WWE.
WWE.
If everybody can share money, sorry.
Well, it's just what you said about them now being on free TV in Mexico. It's they just debuted La Sombra, who everyone down there knows, and they're using them strong so far. And then there's always, Del Rio is always just one signature on a contract away from popping back in, and Ray is negotiating to do a part-time thing. Like, they could make a couple of deals and have a very strong contingent of luchadors. I'm not counting all the great ones they have in 205, like Grand Metalik. Yeah, I mean they already have enough in 205, but they don't use it. but they might have some.
That's I mean they've got enough. They've got enough luchadors to kind of get the interest.
You just need a few segments on their big shows.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm not being funny, but like WWE's going to be big in Mexico anyway. It's just big everywhere. It's big in Japan, even though you'd say Japanese wrestling's big.
Yeah, but WWE,
you know what I mean, people still go into free TV. Everybody can get that,
Well, all right. So let's talk a little bit more about that AAA. It's not. I don't know. You can't call it a pay-per-view.
Did you see Phantasma's bare ass?
It did happen.
Wait, we'll get there because I want to talk about the. Wasn't the Darby Allin Australian Suicide match before that?
Yeah,
with Drago, Aerostar, Sammy G. Some guy didn't know, I think, and Aerostar went over. Okay, this match was weird, but I really liked it. It was a little sloppy. It wasn't quite the platform I wanted to see for Sammy G, but I thought that he did okay. I thought that Darby Allin had way too many spots, but did Drago get hurt?
Yeah.
It looked like he got pulled out in the middle of the match, and I saw somebody walk into the back, and it looked like it changed what the finish was going to be, and these guys had a little trouble communicating it and working it out, so Aerostar just kind of made it happen.
He got hurt during Sammy
Drago,
G's rest, didn't he?
When Sammy G went over the top, he went put his arms up.
Yeah, he took like 2 dives from Sammy G, and he was done by the second one.
Sammy G on the second one didn't really connect too much with the body. It was more like when Drago put his arms up to like get him. And if I remember correctly, it's a dislocated shoulder or like a bone in the collarbone area.
So is he out for a while, or is that something that?
I won't say that bit, but he got injured, and that's why they took him out the back. So yeah.
Well, yeah, better to just get him out there because if he stays around, he'll try to do some of the finish and hurt himself even worse. So better to drag his ass the fuck out.
Oh yeah, he knew straight away. I mean, it was like instant, like boom, straight out the back.
That sucks.
Well, and then we got the swerve number 1 of the masked man coming out that everyone thought was going to be Conan. Though it was a great telegraph when Cross comes out holding the guitar, because instantly there. And then the fact that, Hugo was talking about Conan made it obvious the second that they came out that it wasn't going to be Conan, but that's fine because I still didn't know who it was going to be.
You knew it wasn't Conan. He was too thin.
Well, exactly. But I liked the way they did the whole setup.
Yeah.
Basically telegraphing it a little bit. It was very old school wrestling, very much something that the youngest or oldest fan could get behind. And then the reveal is Double J, Jeff Jarrett. I was not mad at that. Do I think that Jeff Jarrett deserves it? Not necessarily, but look, AAA has to take who they have access to. Jeff Jarrett's a Hall of Famer now. It's going to bring a little bit of interest back. In his last performance, he was a complete drunken idiot. So,
yeah, I mean, it is something that will get people talking about the show. And I do think that they have people that should be in the championship picture that they haven't put there yet. So I think it helps. Like whoever takes the title off of him.
But this is what I want out of Jarrett too. If he's going to do something, God, let him be in a faction. Let it be a faction that's growing. So if they need to minimize him or if he has to disappear altogether, it's not going to destroy storylines. It's part of what AAA has a problem with. They start building a feud or a storyline and then something doesn't go the way they needed to backstage. And then all of a sudden the whole thing is just dropped or doesn't make any sense.
That's a Jeff Jarrett thing. Like he constantly, or he has a history of coming into AAA and then setting up a big program. Like I think he even did something with Hulk Hogan where he put Hulk Hogan in a hospital over, attacking him, and then something happened and he left the company before he had to put him over.
Right, but then this is perfect because he can be written in and out. easily. I mean, we're seeing that with Teddy Hart. Teddy Hart was a massive part of that debut, and we haven't seen him again since. And it hasn't really hurt the storyline. As long as you have, as long as they don't dick around Cross again, as long as you have Cross there and Hoovy anchoring it, it's fine. And you know, I didn't mind Jeff Jarrett being there. Now, we'll talk about this in a second, but Jeff Jarrett in the headlining event, which is what kind of happened here, he inserts himself into the main event, which is funny because, you know, 3 or 4 weeks before when they announced the card, they had telegraphed there was going to be a mystery guest. And then AAA is so discombobulated and disorganized that when they then told us a week later that there was not going to be a mystery guest in that headlining event, we all were just like, oh, yeah, that's typical AAA. The card changed a bunch of times. And then basically they just put it back to being exactly what it had already been announced to being. It was just funny to me because it's typical AAA nonsense.
Yeah.
But it's working for him. This is where the nonsense is working.
I got to be honest. I fell asleep in the main event whenever Double J started doing stuff.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. Let's talk about Io del Fantasma's butt.
Did we let's talk about the post-match shenanigans where it was Sammy and who else got in a fight?
Which match?
The big tag match. Not the tag. Sorry. Everything I'm saying is wrong.
Yeah.
The one with all the little guys in it. The Drago got hurt.
You
think that was a shoot?
The afterwards? I don't know.
Afterwards.
I don't know if it was a shoot.
It looked sloppy like a shoot.
You don't think? I don't know. Well, I mean, but a lot of that was Aerostar and Sammy G. You think they have heat?
I could see Sammy G getting hot. I don't know if Aerostar would get mad or get anyone mad.
Yeah, but
maybe he was.
Remind you of that kid.
It was a weird pinfall. It was a super weird 3 count.
I think it was more them pretending to have heat and more trying to discuss like if they botched the finish or not because of the Drago thing. I think it just fell apart because it wasn't supposed to. I don't think the finish was supposed to be that way, and they had to write it on the spot. I don't think it was.
I didn't know he was counting 3.
Yeah, I don't know that it was a major botch at that point, you know, or major heat at that point. I think it was just all a product of the botch, you know.
Yeah.
So when did the lights go out, Meef? Was that before the Cage Phantasma?
No. So you had the when they started, and you had the whole Psycho Clown attacked Phantasma. So the Phantasma started. So it became Cage, Phantasma, and Rey Scorpion.
Yeah.
Versus Psycho Clown. Was it Felino?
Extreme Tiger.
Extreme Tiger. Yeah,
it was Black Tiger. No.
It was Extreme Tiger.
Wasn't there a
Laredo Kid?
Black Violence.
Laredo Kid, right? It's Laredo Kid, Extreme Tiger, and Psycho. 3
minutes into the match, there was a little bit of like, you know, the kicking, rolling around, and the 3-on-1 attacks, and then the lights went out, which actually made it. It actually looked really well because it was the right time of night. It was so just at dusk, so it was still lit enough that you could see, and then they started getting some work lights on.
Hold on, Justin. When did you change the YouTube title of the show? Did you change it mid-show?
No. Hours ago.
We were going to talk about that before the show?
What is it?
Yeah. Or else I would have named the show that. I wasn't going to.
Oh, I thought maybe like you were getting Black Danger. Yeah, Polycross. I thought you were so into the conversation. You're like, this is a good title for the show. And went back and edited the broadcast.
No, I just changed it. I put it to that a while ago.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway. No, the lights went out. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was like, it's like, this is a major show with a bunch of stars right now. We're getting towards the big part of the card. And it was just this comical weird thing, and the God bless the talent. They did great with it. They kind of went with it, and they kind of like, oh shit, is this a show must go on moment, or did we wait for the lights to come back up? But then they just went for it, and it worked. But it was crazy. It was weird. I mean, when have you ever seen?
It was cool, yeah.
A show on this level where all the house lights go out, like fucking.
It was interesting. You could still see the action. And something I'm gonna want to talk about later with Jericho.
The crowd had those, don't they?
It gave everything a unique look and feel and atmosphere, and it all stood out. Made it look special.
And the action wasn't too negatively affected by it, was it? There was little bits that you couldn't do, but they still got the whole tag team match falling apart in.
Well, I mean, the match falling apart wasn't without reason for it falling apart. I mean, I don't know. Here's the thing. I feel bad for Phantasma. Is he getting the treatment that Penta used to get in AAA?
No.
Yes.
How does he get himself out of that?
The thing is, for me, like, regardless of, joking aside, the reason I support him and put my money, like, where that is, mouth is, on that one, he has.
I'm sure you put your mouth in a lot of places.
He has all the attributes.
Is that why the mannequin the back is turned around? Because you can't see where it's been worn down?
I can't look at it with shame.
Water erosion.
Yeah.
Okay, no. Tell us the real deal. So, and for those who don't know, Meatloaf is a very big supporter of Hijo del Fantasma, Cuerno, his various gimmicks. He's bought masks. He supports the guy. He's a legit fan of the guy, and we feel bad because the guy's not always in the best position. So go ahead, tell us what you were saying.
Yeah.
So, in terms of physique, he's in good shape. When he's ripped, because I think he's had a bit of a at the minute, but he talks perfect English, so you can use him as your worldwide ambassador, which they do to every time they've got a big event on.
Wait, he speaks perfect English?
He speaks better English than I do.
Well, then shit, we should have him on MMMshow. Phantasma, get at me. What's up, dude? Let's have you on the show. We'll talk about this for real.
And he's the guy they take to all these events when they're doing big publicity events. He's the guy they get on stage. He's the guy they had squaring up to Jeff Jarrett when this whole Impact thing was going down before. When it was Impact, and Jeff Jarrett came in and said, "I want to take your mask and all this crap." So
and then what happened?
Phantasma was the guy they put directly in the line of that.
And then what happened?
Well, I think. For me, it all comes down to the Tejano feud. So that was all set pretty much for Triplemania this year. The big, but
right.
They pulled
they
pulled it too early for me. They pulled the go on it too early. So therefore, with all the shows they do, by the time you get to Triplemania, who wants to watch it again?
Right, it's bound to fizzle.
And then the match they put them in the first time round. Because, again, I talk to people. Him and Tejano were going to put on this really good match in the cage. And it was going to be gloriously bloody because Phantasma purposely wore all white.
Yeah,
for that reason.
You want to show off all to the ring.
Yeah. So they had that, and you could legitimately at the end of that match, they lose their shit. Then do this match, and then I think that's when you have lots of interference coming, and the whole Bengala spitting water at Tejano gets a disqualification because Bengala's been injured, bless him. Be a part of the feud as well, I think, and that was going to keep it going to Triplemania, maybe, or at least something was going to shenanigans were going to go in a match on the time. So therefore, fast forward to, oh god, but they had the hair versus mask match, and even in that, shenanigans, and it wasn't the big one they were planning because all the shit went on before, which meant these guys had 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Because they even cut out, they stopped the transmission when Tejano was having his haircut.
Which is
So
amazing.
he was pissed. You know that he went, cause you know, we all saw the aftermath in like certain things that were coming out. Was the argument that he had with Vampiro.
What things were coming out of him?
Popcorn. Ross got him
out of his eyeballs.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is going to be the feud, and for whatever reason, they kept on pulling, like, from the guys and what they put across. They weren't giving them the what's the word for it? Artistic, like, you know, they weren't letting them and put on the show that they knew they could put on.
Well, look, if Phantasma speaks perfect English, he just needs to get the belt. They need to put the belt on him, let him be an international superstar, let him, you know, come to the States and show up at the White House and put the belt on Trump's desk.
Well, the thing is though, like this is what I mean. Like in terms of if you look at a wrestler and you go, I'm gonna build my company around somebody. For me, Phantasma's a perfect example because he's bilingual. He's got the look. I mean, Jesus Christ, have you seen the girls go nuts for him? You know what I mean? That sells tickets and merchandise.
Look, I believe we've even seen some of the boys go nuts for him.
Yeah. Jim Velasco, massive Phantasma fan. But you know what I'm saying? Like you put him on the top of your card, you put a belt on him, and he can do everything for you. He's a great ambassador in terms of as a human being. He's like, you know, he says all the right things publicly, and he acts the way publicly. He's got all the fan base, like, you know.
Yeah.
Look, I think the moral of the story is he's got to come on MMMshow. We'll give him the rub. You've seen what happens. You've seen what happens to talent when they come on this show and then they get the rub. And some people you haven't even seen the rub that they're going to get yet, but you'll see it. And it's not bad for your career if you come on MMMshow. It's just that simple.
We get to hang out. We like to have a good time with our friends.
Look at what's going on with Cross right now. He was one of our very first guests, and he's clearly over right now. You know, there's a few of them. Famous B, I think he's gotten over. I mean, I expect huge things out of Paul London now that he's been on the show.
Yeah, he might finally go somewhere after he talked to us.
You know, that Eric Van Wagenen guy, like he did our show, and then clearly he made something out of himself after that.
He got a whole nother show after he talked to us.
Yeah, I mean, look, we got that guy to be able to jump from just a wrestling show on El Rey over to a big time fighting show now with the Contender. I mean,
we have upwards of 8 people watching us live right now on a
Sunday. Chris Roach did our show, and he was just, you know, second fiddle to Krista Joseph, and then all of a sudden he's got like 3 versions of Big Brother on the air and a major motion picture that he wrote.
I mean, baby.
I think it's clear. You know. Plus, if you need to get married or hooked up, like Carmen Perez came on this show, and the next thing you know, we're getting her married off. She lives in another country now. She's getting to travel the world. Like we're just making things happen for people.
I don't get that kind of rub.
Who didn't we help though? That's the question. Who didn't we help?
Byron.
Who? Yeah.
Clearly, it was Byron.
Byron's now living in hell.
Yeah.
But yeah, they fuck them, and this. We'll not talk about the not people, not them, not the people you just listed. Jesus Christ! But we'll talk about the press conference later.
We'll get to the press conference. So
yeah,
let's get to the main the Apuestas match, the hair versus hair or whatever match. Was good. Like I had no problem with it. It felt like a very good version of a standard AAA match, but it felt like it had some meaning. I had no issue with it. And then, and the lights were finally back on too. Were they on the beginning of that match?
It came, yeah.
The end of the Phantasma match was back in light.
Yeah.
And then, we get to
the end of a feud.
the new triple threat match for the AAA Mega Championship, not to be confused with any regular championship. This one is mega. It's a mega championship. I had some issues with this. The end I was fine with, but I don't understand quite what all the stalling was at the beginning. Like, a little bit of stalling, I get the build up, but the way that they were trying to tell the story, it felt like these three just didn't sit down in the back long enough and work out something good for the beginning, or whoever was agenting this thing didn't push them enough. But I feel like there was a really missed opportunity to have Ray and Wagner show out a little bit at the beginning of this match. Like, show us why they're two of the best ever, regardless of where the angle's going or the Jeff Jarrett thing. It's like, you guys are back in your home. This is the moment. Like, show us a little something.
I think it took them 10 minutes to actually decide, you know what we can do? If I go this way around the ring and you go that way around the ring, we can catch him.
I think that's
like a whole 10 minutes of stalling before they realized that.
I really believe that part of the problem here was that Ray let Wagner call the match. I think he was letting Wagner decide what was going on, and I think Wagner was not happy about this match. So he basically didn't call for shit. I feel like that was what was going on. And then once Jarrett got out there and I think Jarrett saw what was happening, I think Jarrett sadly took over and started trying to make anything happen to get to them to their finish. But I sadly feel like for some reason, and you know how AAA is, man, something in the back happens, rubs one guy the wrong way. They don't really lay out the matches as in depth as like a WWE or even a TNA or someplace else. They leave it to the boys to lay out the matches. And a lot of times in Lucha Libre, that happens on the spot. You know, you get two guys like Aerostar and Drago doing it. They're going to lay out some fire almost every time. You get guys that have been around for a long time, like Ray and Wagner and Jarrett. Maybe they lay out zero for you. Like this run around the ring patty cake bullshit. What the fuck was that?
Wagner quit after the show.
Exactly.
Wagner's gone. He's gone CMLL, which is hilarious because, you know, he's just gone next door for a cup of tea, basically.
Well, it seems to be quite a bit.
Well, Dory will be around mowing his lawn for him later. So, you know.
Which I think is a big loss for AAA. I mean, I liked having him as part of these programs, but, you know, a guy like Wagner might be looking at it differently. As, you know, they're bringing all these other guys in right now, and Conan's there, and Conan's giving all these other dudes the rub. I don't think it would have taken much for Wagner to keep his spot and have a good spot, but I do think it would have required him to suck it up for a couple of events, and then, you know, prove his worth as the opposition to all this other craziness that's going on, you know?
If someone tells you you're dropping the belt to Jeff Jarrett,
I get it.
On life.
I get it, but, you know, yes, being the Diamond Dallas Page of AAA is not necessarily what he desires, but you always still need that one Diamond Dallas Page guy that's on the outside, that's above all the other storylines, that's, you know, just doesn't bow down to all the other storylines. I think Ray could have, or Wagner could have easily been that guy.
I'm going to have to take a moment here because I know, and I'm looking directly into the camera, that Conan or Klein Rock or whoever listens to this, do not have Jeff Jarrett lay down in the fucking ring with a finger punch of death. Finger prod of death.
It's finger poke of doom, you motherfucker.
It's bullshit. That's what it is. And do not let it fucking happen.
Jarrett was a part of that. He was the Bash of the Beach with Hogan.
Look, if the finger poke of doom comes from Cross and the belt goes on Cross or Hoovy, I'd be fine with that.
But if Cross does it, he's actually going to poke a hole in your chest and like burrow through your chest with a fingernail.
Well, yeah, he knows how to sell it.
Rip out your heart. That's a different, you know.
I mean, I don't know. I think that putting the belt on Jarrett is a great call for right now. because it gives them a way to move the belt around and create story easily based on what happens. Like, look, we had Fenix come in at the end, or just Fenix because it's AAA. Sorry, it doesn't even need to be Rey Fenix. It's just Fenix. It's a more logical way to put the belts on that guy, or if Penta wants the belt when he shows up, or LA Park, or if they want to move the belt around, elevate somebody from the mid card. Jarrett's a great way to do it. We know that Jarrett is just there to put somebody else over for that belt. And even if they have to chase him for a little while, like, look, if Fenix has to chase down Jarrett and get through Cross and Hoovy to get to him, that's a great story. That just works. Even if it's Jeff Jarrett that's holding the belt. What you don't want right now is a super credible hot champion. You need somebody that is a bit of a pushover that we know will lose the actual match if it ever comes to the actual match. It's a bit old school wrestling storytelling, but I think it works in this case. And it works. Yeah, Jarrett can play more the weasel part. He's got the protection of Cross and Hoovy, who just want to destabilize things. I think it works great. And I liked the Conan swerve with coming out in the La Parka as La Parka ref or whatever. The Tarante's part of it.
It
wasn't
too
necessary.
much of the heel ref.
Couldn't like why have two swerves? Why have two heel ref swerves? Like, just let Tarante should just bump out. Like, I never wanted to see Marty Elias more in my life than at that moment. God, how much more over would that finish have been with a Marty Elias ref bump and then Conan doing the Parka, the Parka ref gimmick. I'm so confused. There's too many LA Parks in AAA now.
Yeah.
We can kill when it's fine.
But so the ending, I like the ending. You got a lot of mass chaos. The simple fact of the matter is, look, we've talked about this event for 40 minutes now or whatever. It was exciting enough to talk about. Things really happened. Things are really happening in AAA. It's exciting. There's a lot of backstage drama. There's a lot of in front of the stage drama. There's a lot of new talent coming in. I hope they make good use of guys like Sammy G, of Fenix now that he's back in. So let's talk about the press conference, Meef. What do you want to say about the press conference?
I didn't watch the press conference. What happened?
Well, Psycho Clown is the Roman Reigns of Mexican wrestling. You know, he's sucking a lot of dick and taking a lot of dick. He likes dick in all his holes. And it's the most blatant push for anybody who's a mediocre performer to ever have. And then, you know, you've got... Do you bring in LA Park and he's going to take a big payday and lose his mask? Considering his relationship with AAA and Dorian, actual press conference, he said the guy was spent too much time sucking Dorian's dick, which was quite amazing for a press conference. And then you've got Penta, and on paper, when you look at it, Penta's not losing his mask, is he? Coming back for this, bye.
Pentagon has a mask match versus Sami Callihan too.
Yeah, he's just not going to lose his mask. No. And to be honest with you, there's not that much money in him losing his mask yet.
Penta?
And the idea. Yeah.
I don't know that there's ever money in Penta losing his mask.
He sells too many.
No, I think it just... Yeah.
He's one of those guys I could see staying under the hood forever. Phoenix, however, I think should lose his mask. But that's a whole other story.
I think those guys have cool masks, and they get to, if they modify their mask just slightly, they get to have their indie gimmick, their AAA gimmick, you know, and also they sell them and they make a ton of money.
But no, but just in case of actually, in terms of the idea of losing your mask is so big that Pentagon is what the however many incarnation of Pentagons there's been, and he's come back from the how should we say, into AAA, and there's not too much I would say in terms of him losing his mask at this point in his career. He's too big anyway, but in terms of he's not Psycho Clown. Psycho Clown loses his mask. They've built him so much that's a big deal. Pentagon's been out of Mexican wrestling for like nearly 2 years.
Well, I don't see it. I don't see it being Pentagon just because that also really shoots Lucha Underground in the foot too, because it'll happen in the middle of the season where he's still performing under the hood. It just would
exactly. So
and planning for him to take this mask in general would be just a giant nightmare.
And I don't think it'd work for his career.
Right.
So we can put a big X and cross him out and put him in the waste paper basket for this.
Right.
Psycho Clown is the biggest bitch in the office. So
hey, tell us how you really feel.
They're not going to let him lose his mask, are they? Let's be honest.
I mean, I think it would be foolish financially.
The problem is, and this was very well pointed out by somebody, his entire family have lost mask matches, or have been, they're not mask wrestlers. So his family history, if we're going to go for the whole Lucha Libre, is very, steeped in its history and likes to keep traditions and honor. It does remotely make sense for him to finally lose his mask in a big one against somebody like La Parka. You know what I mean? Or like LA Park, sorry. I'm going to say La Parka because he is La Parka.
Original La Parka.
Yeah, the real La Parka. So that's a notch that could possibly mean for Psycho. And again, LA Park. It's a big final payday, if you know what I mean. So he could come back. He's in his mid-50s.
Good. That's a really good question.
And he's got his son now, hasn't he? His son's kind of.
His son is finally credible.
Yeah, and his son could take the whole revenge route that they were trying to, obviously do with Wagner. And that everybody thought that was going to be the big thing for this year, but that's not worked out for whatever reason. And then we get to Phantasma. So, as much as I believe, in terms of as a fan of his and his ability, he shouldn't lose. In terms of the luck that he's got, he shouldn't lose. His dad never lost his mask, so therefore Phantasma losing the mask is technically like one of the most disrespectful things that could happen, and wouldn't be quite bad. But in terms of a career move, he's a pretty guy. He's got another mask. He can be King Cuerno. And if he's going to go to a certain place where we know he wants to go, has there been negotiations where, and this is me speculation, purely speculation, that we all know about contracts and all these things that have happened. Who says he doesn't die off in season 3? Season 4 now, sorry.
4. Season
4 of Lucha Underground. He doesn't die off in the end of this. Ties up perfectly with him finishing up with this AAA thing for a couple of months like Almas did. And then we see him turn up somewhere else in Florida.
I mean, that would be the best look for him possible.
I don't think it's lose for Phantasma. I personally don't want to see him lose the mask because I know how much the mask means. But in terms of for a career, it would not be a killer like it would be for a Penta. And if it was Le Parc, it's the kind of admitting that it's the end of the road for that career. It's gone on to.
But isn't it? I mean, he is in his 50s.
Well, to a degree, I know there's other guys who are obviously wrestling and they're way into like early 60s.
I know, but isn't it the time for LA Park to lose the mask, to get his victory tour without the mask, let people see who he really is, and kind of I mean, and he doesn't even have to stop or go off into the sunset. I don't know, like,
it doesn't ruin the gimmick, or because he's so old, you don't think that would be?
I mean, did it ruin the gimmick to have a whole second version of him out there who is also 50 years old and not half the wrestler he is?
I mean, shit at wrestling. Yeah.
I mean,
and they're in the same company now.
And they're in the same company now, with Conan being an imposter of one of them as well. There was, there's three LA Parks going on, or La Parkas in the course of 24 hours.
You got Negra Parker as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got 4.
I mean, to me, that alone, okay, I'll be surprised if it's this year for LA Park. I feel like next year, after his kid is more established, would be the time. But if the offer was there and things timed out correctly and AAA is the one willing to pay, I mean, the real question is, who's AAA going to pay to do this thing?
Hey, what was up with the Villanos when they retired? Wasn't that like a year ago? Did they lose their mask?
You need to ask Casey these questions. Where's Casey?
Yeah,
I
mean, the general idea is it's passed on, isn't it?
Well, the legacy is passed on, but I mean, it just depends. I mean, look at what Wagner's doing right now. Yeah. So, and then that's the other component to this. In the midst of all this, these guys come in. LA Park comes back. Fenix comes back at the Verano de Escandalo. Then Penta comes back, and LA Park the next day or 2 days later, whatever it was. It's crazy. It's crazy. And we haven't even talked about the fact that Fenix went to CMLL in the same week.
Yeah.
And won the MLW Tag Team Championship in the same week with Penta.
A week later.
And in the same week, Penta dropped his Impact title. What the ever-living fuck is going on?
And then Penta also fought Dragon Lee, right?
Was that the...
No, he bumped into him. Did he? I don't think he actually fought him.
Oh.
Did he actually bumped into him backstage and they said it's setting up the rivalry?
Oh, okay. It was definitely there.
I think that's what. Yeah, but the thing is the Fenix is the best wrestler possibly that's around for me personally on the Indies.
Yeah. So the real question is, how do you get Fenix more over than he is right now? I mean, he's obviously trying to do it himself to a certain extent. And just putting himself out there. But here's my issue with the Penta Fenix thing right now. Obviously, Penta got hot-shotted. He got hot-shotted at Impact. There's no two ways about it. He came in, they put the belt on him at the pay-per-view or whatever, and then they did their week of tapings. And at the end of that week of tapings, Penta had already lost the belt. Which everybody now knows. We couldn't really talk about it before because even for Impact, I don't want to put spoilers out there, even though more people knew about it. So literally, he held their belt for 3 days, which amounted to 5 episodes of TV.
That's pretty good.
Dropped it back to Austin Aries. No, it's a decent run, but it's a hot shot run.
Yeah.
I mean, they bring the guy in, they throw the belt on, they take it right off of him.
They get a lot more new people watching Impact.
They did, and this is the thing I like. I like the spirit of exchange here. I like the fact that I came this close to watching CMLL this week. Still didn't do it because I just didn't have the time, but I came really close because Fenix was there. I've been watching TNA now for a few reasons, more than just Penta and Fenix and Drago and Aerostar and Cuerno. But I like being able to see those guys there, and Taya too. But I also do, and God bless the people that are more Impact fans than other stuff. But I'm here to tell you, when you see the presentations of those same guys on Lucha Underground starting again this week compared to the presentation of them at Impact, If it doesn't blow your mind, I just don't understand you as a wrestling fan. It is clearly a better presentation for whatever you think about Lucha Underground or not. Of those characters, and I'm not saying that there aren't things that Impact does very, very right. There are some very good things going on in Impact, but the presentation of those characters that you're seeing in TNA compared to the presentation of those same characters in Lucha Underground is a far better presentation of them. It just is. And my problem with the Fenix being all over the place is, okay, great. He's getting the saturation. He's proving that there's demand for him. Anybody who doesn't want to watch a Fenix match is just fucking out of their mind. The guy is amazing. The double bounces off the ropes and stuff that he does, just the crazy moves, the move set. Watching him perform is great. But watching him perform is not everything. One of these promotions has to get the character over in some fashion, and that is what we are clearly missing at this point. The character of Fenix or Ray Fenix or whatever is not over anywhere. And honestly, MLW with the Selena De La Renta thing, they are probably one of the better outside presentations of both of these guys right now and getting them over. That she created this stable where she says, I'm bringing in the best fighters around and bringing you, Latino stars that you're not going to get otherwise, because they have a manager there. She's talking them up. She's giving them the right presentation. Penta coming in and just cutting his hot promos for Impact didn't work to me. And the crowd didn't respond to it the same way because the crowd wasn't 50% Latino like the Lucha Underground crowd is. The Lucha Underground crowd
is also dead.
Yeah, the Impact
I'm sure there's some. It's held in a morgue.
Right, but the things that work about Impact are crowd be damned. You have a hot backstage segment, you put it in the ring, and then you the segments that work in TNA are the ones that go from backstage to the ring seamlessly. The Hardy Boys stuff worked because of the backstage shit. The stuff that's going on with Sammy and Eddie, it works because of the backstage shit. Like, yes, they had a spot in the ring, but they know how to sell it overall. And they're doing cool stuff where they're selling it at other promotions and whatnot. That stuff works. The things where it's just like, yeah, Aerostar and Drago are fire, and we're going to put them out in the ring with DJZ or Andrew Everett or whoever, it doesn't carry as much weight. They put on these great matches, but there's nothing to it. There's no backstage storyline. There's no investment. Nobody cares. I feel like Fenix. So Fenix,
lost a little thing because they. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say about if you remember going back to the Tejano and Phantasma being there. We said this a few episodes ago. How at one point they were being built and they were fighting Impact, not as a kind of we're invading, but more of a kind of we've come here to prove that we're better, and then they came down to Mexico and it kind of just disappeared. See, I'm not saying they should have built some like kind of LWO like stable, but that's all they needed to do with Fenix and Penta, because randomly Penta was with Phantasma.
Right.
So it's like obviously these guys are all together and they know each other. So just to have them keep on just putting vignettes of those guys backstage,
Yeah. You need overall, you need overall motivations. You need backstories. Like, look, Penta had a story with Austin Aries. It was great. It was a story, but there was no backstory to it. There was no clear motivation other than I'm coming in here to fight your guys. And Aries saying, well, I'm the best in the world. You can't fight me. You can't beat me. And then Penta beating him. And then Aries turning it back around and saying, no, really, I'm still the best guy. That works. It gives the promotion the rub, but it doesn't give. It gave Aries a little bit of a backstory. It did help Aries' backstory, but it didn't help Penta's. It hasn't helped Phoenix's yet. Phantasma still needs some love. These guys need some love, and a lot of their characters do. And again, I think that Impact is doing a good job with some of those characters. And I even think from last season of Lucha Underground that more could have been done to bolster backstories opposed to just the current storylines that people are in. Like, give us more motivations. The stuff that they did with Jeremiah Crane was really good. The stuff that they did with Dante Fox last season was really good because they were giving us backstory motivations. But then some of the people who were just fighting for the day, it didn't work.
PG Black shows up.
Yeah. And like, what's PJ's motivation for being with the Worldwide Underground? Like, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
So people don't care about him as much.
As the whole Son of Madness, Son of Havoc thing. Whilst they mentioned the whole biker thing, and there was like the old scene in the bar, I think, wasn't there?
Yeah, and
they didn't really give it too much. If you know what I mean, it just happened.
Which might be good because I felt like that gimmick really didn't work that great. But at the same time, the only thing that would have made that gimmick work better is, I think, one more credible backstory setup segment with a little more of the history behind the Son of Havoc character, not the Son of Madness character, but the Son of Havoc character. Give us one more element of his backstory. And maybe we'll get that this year. DJ does think in long game situations, so maybe that's still coming. But it felt like that feud didn't quite work because there was a piece of the motivation for the viewer missing. Like, why do I care about this weird stuff that's going on with his cut disappearing and him and Masquerita and this, that, and the other thing?
Like, let's be honest, it felt like it took up a lot of actual decent, because there was a lot of things we were missing.
Yeah, but that's still what's missing from these other things. So, like CMLL, I know a lot of people are excited about the fact that Rey Fenix is there, and yes, you're going to get some great matches from it, but they're not going to build his character there. They're not going to build him as a performer. He's just going to have some new guys to fight that you've always wanted to see him fight. And I don't think it's going to last very long.
It's an indie.
Yeah, well, that's what you're getting right now when you have these guys going on all these other shows. Like with Lucha Underground, you have a TV show, you have a season, you have a commitment. And so you fully invest and they fully invest in the company and you get the stories because you know they're going to show up.
But Impact has that too. And thusly, they have the same responsibility to these characters that anyone else should. If you're going to bring in a character, make them a character. They have weekly television. They have more TV than Lucha.
I'm saying like largely when you have these guys do like with Fenix, he's going to be, it looks like he's doing a good thing for himself by getting all this exposure, but he's not going to actually be like kind of
time himself down somewhere.
Aside from doing some spots, you're going to see him do the spots, but why do you invest? Like you're saying, he's going to be empty everywhere he goes. I mean,
well, maybe not in AAA though. I mean, look, they brought him in as the foil to the top angle, possibly. And that could really build him up. He's got backstory because of the real life drama that's going on there. I think they have to play it. The real question, and honestly, for me, I think the real play with Fenix would be have him come in, play his little angle with Mad a little bit, and then swerve everyone and join Mad and actually feud against Penta. As Penta being part of the establishment, that Penta came back and he had the wool pulled over his eyes and that he's fallen for the same old AAA crap and that Fenix is sick of it. He thinks his brother's an idiot and that he joins Mad and takes on Penta. I think that's where the big money is, and let these guys, instead of their stupid random indie show blow-off feuds where they wrestle each other, have them do it on the stage that created them and have it really actually matter.
Have them fight over something.
But the thing is,
but another thing is that like this whole Jeff Jarrett thing, something to think about big picture with them is that he's look at him as a short-term character, and at some point Jarrett's going to be out, and then you got to transition someone in. And I think that's the perfect spot for Fenix to pop in. Like Jarrett does his thing, but maybe there's a Jarrett Fenix match. Fenix wins the title and Jarrett's gone. And then Fenix now, and I think it's important to bring in more luchadors instead of Lados to match.
The thing is that Fenix, obviously, as we all know, him and Conan are quite close. So that stare down was not only just like the kind of like, I'm putting a stop to this bullshit, but it's almost like kind of like two friends who were opposite sides of an argument.
I thought for a second that
so
they were going to hug
that's a story you can play out. So is that?
Well, yeah, we don't know. We don't know. Maybe they are going to hug. Maybe you know, they left it time to build, Byron. They just left it as, and guess what? On top of all this other craziness that we've put out here, we're throwing Fenix into the mix too, and you don't know what's going to happen.
I thought they were going to smooch.
But But down the line, you're gonna have that, like, as a storyline clever and they're smart. They use the whole thing of Phoenix is a Conan guy.
Yes, clearly.
You know? But he's also doing the right thing by being a good guy. So he's struggling with the fact that, is Conan doing a bad thing or is Conan doing the good thing in reality?
Right.
Because sometimes bad guys are doing good things.
And I think he has to struggle with that, and I think he ultimately has to side with Conan and then face off against his brother and let Penta stay the babyface. Let Fenix get over on being, a renegade heel. Let him be the Stone Cold for a while, and let Penta just be a straight up babyface. Yeah. And I think it could work. The weird thing to me about what's going on is how Lucha Underground fits into this, because being one of the few people that saw all of what's going to be happening in the ring, I have no idea about the backstage stuff. But judging from storylines that I've seen in Lucha Underground, we've reached a point now where Lucha Underground is really a standalone world. Like nothing that happens to these performers, especially because of the timelines of how they're having to film and the time off, nothing that happens to these characters in Lucha Underground has any bearing on their presentations even outside of Lucha Underground anymore. So if anyone's expecting that, don't. The one promotion that is out there that is not going to have crossover storyline wise is Lucha Underground. Like,
it's kind of wild.
Cage is Cage in Lucha Underground. He's Brian Cage in Impact, and those two people are not the same.
No.
Phoenix is Ray Phoenix in one place, and like these things just don't intersect anymore at all. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about Lucha Underground and the premiere, which is coming up this Wednesday, which I'm super excited for. I think people are going to be very surprised about what happens in the very first episode.
Yeah.
And I have no idea about the backstage stuff. I know they're running a trailer right now that has Agent Winter back in it. Trying to get Godfrey for the show, by the way. See if he'll come in. My college roommate, Chad Zumach, is a comedian that is actually touring with Godfrey right now. So
what?
Hopefully, maybe we can get both of them on there, because honestly, my roommate Chad is one of the main reasons why I'm a huge wrestling fan right now. He got me really into wrestling in the early mid-90s.
That's right.
But so you saw, I don't know if you've seen the second preview for this week's episode, but it's got some Agent Winter stuff in it. They're talking Gauntlet a little bit. I don't know what's happening backstage, but there's a lot to set up. Last we saw, Dario was not in very good shape. He was trying to make some desperation phone calls. We don't know how that's going to play out. Very excited to see what they're going to do with that, because I think that's something that they have to explain right off the bat, right?
Right. I mean, absolutely. I think there's a lot. I mean, they did a very good job of putting a bunch of stuff out there and making you interested and leaving you hanging. The old cliffhangers. I think though.
But what do you think they have to address in the very first episode? Like, where do you start if you're Lucha Underground? What do you address first? It's only an hour-long show.
Yeah. Well, for me, Lucha Underground, I think, has to immediately address that you got to watch Lucha Underground and you got to watch it for the characters that you're seeing on every other show right now. But this is the place where you really see them. And it's not directly answering your question, but I do think that it's kind of like we're at the pinnacle of where Lucha Underground is sort of an afterthought with like, oh, you like Pentagon Jr. or you like Penta, Cero Miedo? Well, you go watch them on 3 other shows, and like Lucha Underground needs to come out strong. And I think they will. As far as like, it's Dario. Dario's number one. Among all else, that
is the number one thing you have to address, right? And then I think other people, even though because of hiatuses and weird time breaks and tapings and whatnot, I think people have been really curious to see what the Pentagon title run is going to look like. I think that's a very big deal still, even though it may have waned in people's minds. Keep in mind, Penta with the belt in Lucha Underground is something that people clamored for a long time. It finally happened, and we're going into this season with him holding the belt. And one of my biggest issues with the season trailer was that I felt like it didn't promote that enough. I felt like it didn't give enough weight to that in the big long trailer of the fact that we have the Pentagon champion that everyone wanted. Like when you're a promotion, and this is intentionally a slight to my buddies, our friends over at Lucha Underground. I think this is where they dropped the ball. I think, I don't know. They have this weird thing about Pentagon of not wanting to push it too far, not wanting to rush it, not wanting to give fans too much of what they wanted because it might hurt them in the end. But they did it. They finally did put it on him. Why did they not milk it more between seasons or even in this trailer or this promo? They finally did what everybody wanted. And then you made people feel like now that that's not what they wanted.
It's
like
an afterthought. It's a second thought, isn't it?
It's been promoted that way.
Yeah. Because like even to me, and I'm a massive Pentagon mark, I'm like, oh, he's champion.
Yeah, like no one's talking, like even to the point where he had his Impact run, and people were forgetting that he's the current Lucha Underground champion storyline wise. That's it.
Yeah,
it's him, and it was something that everybody wanted for a long, long time, and I really feel like they missed an opportunity with that trailer to push whatever Penta's storyline is going to be for the season. I know they had all these cool shots and these cool other characters, but that trailer wasn't under any specific time constraints. It could have been as long or as short as they needed. I felt like last year they did a great job addressing in their trailer, like Pentagon's coming. He wants the belt. I think they got people excited about that. They got people excited about Puma last year in the trailer. They got people excited about the new guys like Dante and whatnot with the trailer. But then this year, I think they got people excited a lot with the new characters. And I think they missed with some of the old characters. I think, they didn't get me as excited for guys like Cuerno or Penta or Fenix or the guys who have been around that maybe they should have. Even Matanza, I get his whole in the basement thing, but I felt like, I don't know, without giving more exposition, I guess it's hard to explain those more deep motivations that I'm sure Penta has. Like the question for Pentagon for season 4 is, okay, you've been driven by this will to get the belt. You've had these feuds with Vampiro and him being your master, or who's controlling you or who's not controlling you. But now you've finally done it. Now you're finally the champ. You cashed in. You got Puma out of there. Mundo was taken care of. Like the whole thing is dealt with, and you're the champ. What is your motivation to continue and to be this champ at Lucha Underground? Like, what is his motivation to keep the belt? That's a question for me that Lucha Underground needs to answer, preferably right up front. Like, if we're going to see him have any kind of run with the belt, we need to know why. And we've had DJ and Roach on the show, and they both talked about like this whole like, well, we were scared to put the belt on Pentagon, or not scared, but we didn't want to put it on him because what is his motivation as a champ, just to squash these guys or whatever? I think they need to answer that question now. Okay, so what'd you come up with? What is his motivation? Because you did put it on him. He's got it. What do you do with him now? What happens now? What are you going to say, me?
Obviously, they left us hanging with the whole. Do I say Bestia 666? As basically stood behind Vampiro. So he stood behind Vampiro, and Casey, I can say the name, I will totally screw it up, but it's like the Aztec world god.
Right. So we have this other maestro that most people are pretty sure was Bestia 666, but it's not going to be him. I can tell you that much because he is not in Lucha Underground.
Yeah, headdress. The headdress was like I would be, wearing, and it was obviously Bestia's face paint, but obviously, as you just said, not going to be him. So that seems to have just dropped off a cliff.
But maybe not. I mean I don't
use in the trailer though. To pull people in. Oh, getting the intrigue back because it's been so long. people's intrigue, and most people will forgot because that was just a
Maybe
tiny
they want to save it
little
for season
3-second.
Yeah,
true.
you know, it's a good point, and it's a tough one because, you know, realistically, what are their options? They drop the storyline altogether. They put someone else under the hood. They downplay the storyline. Who knows? I mean, my gut tells me that they still do something with the storyline, but maybe presenting that at the end of season 3 was a mistake. I don't know. But it gives them options, and that gives me hope because, you know, the best thing you can do with Chris Joseph is you plant something, you don't point it in a specific direction, and you leave it there as a resource for him to write his way out of or into whatever the next thing is.
It is kind of cool. Some of their heavier things, some of their bigger things, they've kind of, it's been like the long play. It kind of holds for a bit, like the whole weapons of mass destruction match with Marty and Killshot. You know, they held that until the next season. You know, like some of their bigger things, they kind of hold on to and keep in their pocket. So, I mean, who knows? Who knows when we're going to see any of that stuff? I think we will.
With that vignette,
they've established the trust that if they dangle something out, if something exists and makes it on the show and it's a setup, there will be a payoff.
I just think that vignette could have been, you use the trailer, if you know what I mean. You don't use that. I don't think
it's a story-related vignette at all.
It becomes one because of who it basically refers to Pentagon, and it puts some stuff. That's what I'm saying. That for me.
I meant the trailer.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're right. That's a big question.
I would have used that at the end of the series. I would have used it when I'm definitely going to pull the trigger on it. Because there isn't a backing out of that one, really.
Well, but I mean, they make those strong decisions. It's like, look, in retrospect, should they have even shown us Rey Mysterio locked up at the end of the season? In retrospect, it would have been better to just leave that hanging. But yet they showed us that shot, so now they have to explain themselves out of it. You know what I mean? They've got to figure out Sexy Star. They've got to figure out Rey Mysterio. They've got to there's some writing that these guys had to do because they're not a wrestling show. They can't just lean on guys go in the ring and fight each other. They have to explain storylines. They have to tie things up. And they've promised all of us face to face at times that they will resolve these storylines, that they're not going to just throw something out there and then not have an explanation for it. Now, that doesn't mean the explanation is going to be good. Doesn't mean it's going to be the thing that everyone loves, but they have promised us resolutions and conclusions to all of these storylines. And, maybe some of them don't come immediately. Like, look, the Maestro of Maestros or whatever, the Bestia character thing was supposed to be, maybe that's one that has to wait longer. I don't know. Again, these are mostly going to be backstage questions too, that don't get solved. Cross and his throne is obviously another one that I'm very curious to see how that plays out. And his little guy in the briar patch cage there. I think I know where that might go, but I don't. I'll say this. If it goes where it looks like it's going from that trailer, that makes one faction within Lucha Underground a whole lot stronger than all the other ones. And I just don't know that that's something that would work storyline wise, ring wise. I don't know. So it'll be very interesting to see how bringing a character like that in plays. A character like Sonny Kiss's character. How's that going to play? Because that doesn't strike me as a character that's going to be in a tribe. Right. So is Sonny just going to be this standalone? It could be. Who knows? But with the Exolicious name or whatever, I think
got claws. Kitten's got claws, Justin. The kitten's got claws.
I don't know. I'm very interested to see what they do with him, because I feel like Sonny would be more in the Angelico kind of presentation.
Yeah.
That Angelico never really got to capitalize on because he wasn't there enough. Let's hope that Sonny is, but I'm also very interested to see what happens with Willie Mack, Killshot, and Dante Fox and the Trios Championship. I mean, that is got to be one of my favorite teams of all time. I mean, that's the way that ended the season. That was so hot after the fucking Hell of War match, and then those guys coming together after that. One of the best storyline wrap-ups of season 3. And I have big expectations for that for season 4. And if they drop the ball on that, I'm going to be fucking pissed. Those are 3 of the most exciting guys to watch in Lucha Underground, hands down, period. Great choice for them to be trios champions. They all deserved it. You know, Willie was in and out of the title hunt the whole season, actually the last 2 seasons. And what Dante and Killshot did to each other, again, you know, we talked about AR Fox earlier in the show. He should be top talent. I think that AR Fox is better than Ricochet. I like his presentation. I like his ring psychology better. I like his promos better. And I believe that, you know, give him a couple of times to practice it, he could flip out of the ring at Velveteen Dream just as good as Ricochet could any day of the week.
Well, you know, it's funny. During the Super Juniors, there's the Will Ospreay match where was it him? It might have been him against Flip. And they both, it was like right after the Ricochet thing, they both did the Flip, I think, did the thing, and then Will Ospreay did a backflip, and they both did the same spot in the middle of a match.
Well, they're probably mad that Trevor did it first, and they're like, "Oh, that son of a bitch."
It's not. You know what? The reality is, it's not a new thing. Guys have jumped out and landed on their feet before.
I know, but I'm not gonna lie, dude. When Ricochet did that in Dream's face, in light of the fact that Ricochet's promo skills definitely leave something to be desired. Yeah. That was like the most badass thing that he could do. That should be like a regular gimmick. Like somebody mouths off to Ricochet, he front flips out of the ring and stands in your face like what? Like that should be his whole gimmick. I don't care if they do it 30.
Which is what he was doing with Puma, wasn't he? He was doing the thing with Puma where he used to do that whole run up to the rope and the moonsault back and land in the middle of the ring perfectly with a.
Yeah.
And that did more. He never had to open his mouth. Just do that.
And honestly, he should do that exact same move without the hood on, and I think it would play. I think that's how Ricochet proves himself. Like, look, you're the badass flippy shit dude. Throw flippy shit in people's faces. Let that do your talking for you, because when he grabs the microphone, man, I'm just not buying it. But AR Fox is like,
my name's 12 years old. Yeah. I really want to be a wrestling superstar.
Like when AR Fox grabs a mic, though, like people, like I've heard people say like, oh, AR Fox probably can't cut a promo, blah blah blah. This and that. No, his promos are good. I don't know that he does it enough, and I think that Shane Strickland has. Oh my God, his promos now from 2 years ago, holy crap! Shane's a goddamn superstar. Shane Strickland is like, I hope Lucha Underground can hold on to him for a while, because he every bit to me could be main talent roster at WWE tomorrow. You know, and he's been proving that out in the Indies. What's that?
He needs to fill out a little bit.
It's dropping good episodes.
I don't think that would be hard for him though. If you sent him to Performance Center for 3 months and just gave him some direction, gave him those nutritionists and the right weight room. Yeah, he's a guy that follows directions. He's a team player. He's great in the locker room. He's good on the mic. He's got a good look and presentation. He knows how to handle himself with talent. He knows how to work a match. He can call it in the ring. He can work it out in the back. He doesn't miss spots like anymore. You know,
I think
I'd love to see him I'd love to see Killshot get squashed by Cross a couple times in Lucha Underground, get a couple receipts, and then I'd love to see Killshot, you know, graduate and maybe move on to WWE at some point. As much as I love to keep him in Lucha Underground, I think that Shane, honest to God, belongs in WWE. Dante, however, I want to keep him in Lucha Underground forever.
Yeah. How tall is Shane Strickland?
I think he's 5'11". No, I don't think he's over 6. I think he's 5'11", maybe 6.
Heels.
I mean, then it gets dangerous,
Step in the heel.
205 territory, unfortunately. I mean, he's great, and hopefully,
Well, and that's the tough part, but that's why, you have places like Lucha Underground and TNA and whatnot, but yeah. I don't know. So those are the things I'm looking forward to from Lucha Underground. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to be very interested to see the response, what people say about some of these guys coming in. We've talked a little bit about the lack of luchadors and, bringing in some güeros, as they say.
I see white people.
Can you say that?
Hey, look, I can absolutely say it. I'm going to say it about New Japan too.
Yeah.
New Japan is whitening itself up a little bit. Now they've got this Dutch president guy who speaks a lot of languages, and a lot of white guys that won a lot of belts at Dominion.
A lot of Canadians, eh?
A lot of Canadians. A lot of white guys winning. A lot of white guys went over.
Every title changed.
In fact, did any Japanese guy win a belt yesterday? Or whenever it was 2 days ago? All right. Well, so give me the breakdown, Byron. What was interesting about New Japan Dominion, and where do you want to start?
New Japan shows. Well, I mean, we're going long like we usually do, but I'll try and be brief about New Japan. It was a great card, top to bottom, great performances, top to bottom. For me, the post intermission matches. I don't know if Dominion had one, but usually they have intermission, and then you get into your main event.
Right, second half matches.
Second half matches. So you have, I think for here you had your three last matches, and they were all incredible for different ways. You have the junior heavyweight, and then you know what? Throw in the tag matches. The Bucks won too, which that's a big deal. They're heavyweights, but still the Bucks of all people got overshadowed. You have the junior heavyweight, which is a great match, told a great, interesting story, and had its own deal. Then you have the intercontinental match, which had its own presentation and story, which is completely unique. And then you had the heavyweight match, which is the main event, which blew everything that's ever been in the wrestling, in the world of wrestling. It just blew it all out of the water. And it was all really, it's just all, you got to watch, if anything, because it goes really long and you don't have all the time in the world to watch every single show of every promotion. Watch those 3 matches. And for me, just to get into, we could talk about the main event for hours and hours, but for me, what stood out with the other matches was the junior heavyweight match told a great story of Will Ospreay. His run has been amazing, and he has been a guy who I think is way better, 1,000 times better than Ricochet. No slight to Ricochet. I love the guy, and he has been the hero of Lucha Underground, my favorite wrestling show. And so he's great. Will Ospreay is way better than him. He cuts emotional promos, and he does the flippy stuff in a way that works because he's bulked up a little bit.
I was just going to say, his look yesterday, I don't know how he's getting it. Don't really care. Works.
Yeah,
absolutely works. He's looking bigger now. If he can maintain the flippy shit style, and he can get a little more of that chisel on him, and he doesn't have to go too far. But I mean, like, he looks more credible and strong right now than like a Finn Balor, Prince Devitt, whatever.
Yeah, but on his way to doing that, especially during his run as champion, he was using the high flying stuff. He was the aerial assassin. He was using it because he's this tall string being dude. Like, he's not going to punch you harder than you punch him. He's not going to pick you up and slam you harder, but he can fly around and throw his body at you. And he was doing flippy stuff that made sense. And this match was not his flippy match that he's done in any of his other defenses. And every single match, he has continued the hurt neck storyline, and he has nearly taken his head off in every match. And it's been such an interesting, like, Okada had the over year-long story of being champ, and Ospreay had his run, where his reign told a story all the way through. And you see him, he wrestled a heavyweight match.
Right.
For him. And it wasn't slow or boring. It all made sense. But it was, he wrestled a heavyweight style. And you saw, because he was selling the neck in a way that worked, that you saw like, this is a guy who had to make a change. He's still doing stuff, but he had to make a change in how he fights now because of his neck. And ultimately his neck, the title reign for his neck ran out. Like his neck couldn't hold up anymore and he lost. He took that power driver, that butterfly power driver, which is insane. And by the way, Takahashi's triangle choke, I think, is one of the better ones you're going to see in wrestling for the most part.
It's so hard for me to watch sometimes because it's like, Jesus Christ, can you pretend to tuck your foot under your knee? At least can you pretend to cinch it in and then just kind of twist a little bit to give the guy some air so you're not actually choking him out.
In this match, it looked good except for one time where
there was one, that middle one
to choke him, and Will's arm is like over here. Or something.
Yeah.
Will countered it like immediately, but
it's tough. And I was talking with someone about this too with the Ronda in WWE thing where she's throwing the punch barrage, where it's just like it's so not really MMA that it's almost hard to take from people who can really do those things. And I kind of had that issue with the triangles in this match, but still phenomenal match. Loved every second of it. It made perfect sense. And you're right about Ospreay's current presentation is the best it's been.
Yeah.
It really makes me look at him like a guy that deserves to be every bit as big as Devitt was when he was around, or AJ, or any of those guys that came in. So, stick him in the Bullet Club, make him the next guy. We'll see.
Well, he's with Chaos. But the thing is like they're planting seeds for heavyweight, and also like he's Okada's boy. Okada even brought him in to begin with, but Okada in interviews talks about the best wrestlers he thinks, and he names Ospreay. He gave Ospreay a title shot and put him over as much as you could put someone over for losing. But he said like Ospreay, like Okada said, if aside from me, top 3 wrestlers in the world right now are blah 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 Ospreay.
Well, and if you're getting the rub from Okada, that's where it's at. I mean, that's what you want.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he heals his neck, or hope his neck isn't as hurt as it should be from all that he's done. But he is definitely getting like onto bigger and better things type of a rub.
Well, look, he just needs to shore up the lines, and even if he has to tame it down from some of the craziness that he's done in the past, I think he'll be fine. Dad bod Chris Jericho, wow, was not expecting that caliber of performance, psychology, or anything from Jericho. I also, when I watch wrestling, I will say I firmly expect tables to actually break a lot more. Wow. Why keep picking that table to do spots on? Holy hell. That table was this thick. Solid wood, not press board, not that garbage that you find at Home Depot here. It was like they're doing spots on a 1.5 inch thick oak table.
They still needed it for the main event, Justin. Come on. They still had to use it.
It just ridiculous. Like, those are not table spots. That is like, you might as well just move the mats and do spots on the concrete floor, which also happened. I don't know. I was very, very impressed. Jericho's presentation, when he's not being a clown, I thought was phenomenal. And I think at this point in his career, playing a more serious heel, the way that they did it with him saying that he wasn't getting respect and everything made perfect sense. Just love the whole thing.
Everything about it. And another thing about Jericho, what stood out to me with this match, the other one, had its own appeal. And Naito is great. Naito, for everything that Jericho was like, hey, look at me, Naito stood up with him. Naito is the man. But Jericho, above, more than anyone else in wrestling, I think, knows the value of looking special. looking unique, looking different. That's he's been stealing. He plagiarizes pop culture references, and he's been doing it from the very beginning. But you know what? He does it right. He does it better and more interesting than anyone else, and it works. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. He markets himself as better and different. And in New Japan, he's doing all of his promos. Every visual, every bit of footage you see of him is different than anyone else. He did like the very beginning, he was in like the warehouse and he looked really cool. That stuff was like, that was awesome, badass cinematic stuff. And now he's doing different cell phone videos, promos, and that fits the storyline, but also you don't see anyone else doing that. And also each one is a little different. And then there's other things where he does major angle work with Omega during their thing, during doing press conference stuff.
Yeah,
and
no, I really like the press conference angles that he's taking.
Yeah,
because it's really, it's fresh. Really what his character should be too. Of like this guy who's a little bit bitter that he doesn't still have it, that he's not necessarily still at the top of his game, that people should appreciate him, that he should have an easier time of things at this point because of who he is, and he's playing that bitterness perfectly, like a guy who doesn't understand his own flaw. He's not playing it tongue-in-cheek at all. He's playing it dead serious, and it's great. And even the weird clown makeup thing, too, is like, it's this guy who's slightly taking himself too seriously, but it's giving him the motivation that everyone is kind of written him off and is kind of over him. And it's just, it worked brilliantly. And the work rate in that match, we haven't seen that out of Jericho in a while. Like even the Omega match, I didn't think was that. Jericho's work rate for a guy his age and his status that could clearly do less was
he doesn't
awesome.
Need to. But another thing is with the backstage stuff and even the stuff before and after the matches, he's constantly doing things where the most basic concept of it is they have to switch to a non-conventional camera angle to keep up with him.
Right. I love that.
It's great. And it just reinforces that this guy, he's a loose cannon. He's a gaijin loose cannon in New Japan, calling everyone fuck faces, which you don't see that. He's acting unhinged.
How do they present that on the Japanese side? Do they bleep that stuff at all, or
in
they
the
just
promos, the pre-match stuff? They would bleep it. Yeah,
I thought it was great.
Or mute it, but it's just he's total packaged. He gets it.
He totally does get it. And then obviously we have the holy shit factor. 2 out of 3 falls. Probably one of the best, if not the best, 2 out of 3 falls match of all time. I hate giving match ratings, but you just would be very, very hard pressed as any type of wrestling fan to find much wrong with the Rainmaker versus Omega match. They're just, I've been racking my brain like if there is anything I would have done differently, and I just don't know that there was. I think this was finally one of those times where all wrestling fans can actually agree and say, look, if these are the 2 guys, if this is the match, this is the result you want, and this is the way you want the result to happen. Period. Yeah. The storytelling, the psychology, the way the moves work. Maybe it was a little move heavy for real old school fans. You know, maybe it was a little spot heavy, but you kind of expect that from the big headlining events in New Japan at this point, and it's not something I feel like they can work backwards from. I don't think they have a choice at this point. So once you've painted yourself into that corner, boy, this was the way to do it. I mean,
I love the roll up first pin.
That was great. That was absolutely the way they should have done that. It didn't come off the big finisher, doesn't come off the Rainmaker, doesn't come off the One Wing Angel. It comes from a roll up that you weren't quite expecting. And Kenny was really leading the charge up until that point. Mm-hmm. And it was just the veteran got the better of the other guy. And it was like, okay, kid, now you've got to really, really outthink me and show that you're really the best if you're going to do this thing. And then he did.
And it really helped sell the second pin, where even though they did the 2-minute breaks, you get pinned by someone at the other guy's finish, you're still fucked for the next match.
Yeah, I love the way the third fall started off just terrible, sloppy on purpose. Yeah. Those guys kind of fucking ragdolling themselves around. It was awesome.
I legitimately thought going into the third match that they could have shorted it, and I would have been like excited by it. Like it would have made sense.
But here's the thing that you learn about Kenny Omega's gas tank in particular, and Okada's has gotten much better too. But when Kenny goes to cut the promo after the match, and he's got to think, and he's doing it in Japanese to start, he was totally there, totally present, not that gassed at all. The dude's amazing. I don't know, what kind of supplements he's putting in his kelp shake in the morning, but whatever it is clearly working because he was there, had all his faculties, had just wrestled one of the best matches ever for over an hour, and then cuts promos in English and Japanese, doesn't miss any of his talking points, hits it all perfectly. That is a superstar. That is talent.
In two languages.
And I'm not always the biggest fan of Kenny Omega's promos. He's still just a little bit weird because he's Canadian. He is. He's like the biggest problem with Kenny Omega. He's a little bit Canadian. But I liked it here. I thought it worked well. I thought unveiling the Golden Elite thing was awesome.
Gotta buy the shirt.
Take note of the fact that the shirts are already out, people. That is the way you do things. That is the way you do marketing. That is the way you do presentation.
Yeah.
Cut the promo for the hot event. Know the finish. Put the shirt out. And Hoovy, I'm talking directly to you, Hoovy. I want my Mad shirt. I better get my Mad shirt.
I want a Mad shirt.
I better not go to Darren wherever in Massachusetts or whatever. Like, if you guys knew the ordeal I'm going through to get my Mad shirt from Hoovy right now.
I got some friends. They could drive out to Marblehead.
Look, I know Hoovy is one of the greatest of all time, but hot take, no bullshit. It will go down. I will shoot on fucking Hoovy if I do not get this shirt. It is open. It is open season on Juventud Guerrera, the juice, if I don't get my damn Mad shirt sometime in the next couple of weeks. Like, I'm not even that big a rush, but if I get some bullshit story about how no, we sent it and it went to some other fucker in Massachusetts or some dumb shit, like, Hoovy, send me my shirt, bro. Send me my shirt.
We got a graphic designer. We'll bootleg our own.
No, I'm not trying to bootleg nobody's stuff. Like, dude got paid. I don't even care about that. I don't care.
Let's make very angry shirts.
I'll send him.
I would legitimately buy like a ton of masks off there as well because they're good prices.
Like, Hoovy, listen up, man. Listen up. We may not be.
I'll send him money.
We may not have as many listeners as Keeping It 100, but the people that listen to this show are the hardcore fans that spend money on shit. You want to sell some merch? Don't get MMMshow pissed at you. Send me my goddamn merch, Hoovy.
The people who make this show. I want to bring up Omega's post-match interview when they go back to the table and they pitch Coors Light and stuff.
Oh yeah, that was great too.
He was great. And again, like, that's a whole nother bit of just composed reacting. It's a real press conference.
Yeah.
And he made it's just, you don't do it any better than this. He made the very great point where number one, he was talking shit when he said he could go over an hour. He could go as long as he had more stamina than Okada. He knew that he felt that as no matter how the best body that he can build through working out and training, he still didn't think he could be effective after an hour. And he's very thankful that he was able to get it done. He's showing humility, and he also shows that he said he was so happy to see that, like, he doesn't think he's better than Okada, but he proved that he can finally beat Okada for the championship. And just for doing that, he is happy. He'll sleep soundly, but he doesn't think that him and Okada is necessarily over.
Well, and so what do they do with Bullet Club and the factioning out now and Elite and Golden Elite and where do you think it goes from here? I mean, Cody and the Bucks have All In coming up. Does the storyline spill over? What happens?
I'm hearing Cody and Omega at All In. You have Cody, Hangman, and Skrull, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be careful. You don't want to do the NWO thing, but I think if they do their 15-minute webisodes, I think I think they get control and make it interesting for the, being the elite, their show.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's kind of what we were talking about before. It's like everyone who's smart in wrestling right now is in business with more than one place and is in business for themselves. Being the elite is smart. Being Kevin Cross is smart.
We've in Phoenix need their own being the elite. They need a better name than Lucha Brothers.
They should come see us, man. I know a couple of guys that make TVs that know how to run cameras that could put them together a little something.
Yeah. We'll cut them a good deal.
Yeah.
We'll do it for masks.
For t-shirts. We'll do
it. Speak for yourself, man. I like to eat steaks and shit, man. I need money. I need real money.
By the way.
So if they give me masks, I'll buy you a steak.
Okay, there we go. I'll take it.
Whoa.
Hey, look, one last thing that I definitely have to talk about, because I went to the WWE FYC event this week instead of watching my dismal Cavaliers lose Game 3 on Wednesday night. I went to this event at the Television Academy of Arts and Sciences, the governing body of the Emmy Awards. And I was invited there by my friend Casey Kriebel, and I was trying to figure out who's a guy I've brought to Lucha Underground, and he was friends with Brooke Hogan for a while. He knows some wrestlers too, and knows a couple 3 things about wrestling. So this event came up, and he's like, "Oh, you got to come with me," because I'm actually not a member of the Television Academy as much as I probably should be, and I just have never signed up. So anyway, we go to this event, and I was like, well, why are they doing this event? And it was like all the other events recently at the Television Academy are for your consideration events. And that's what this was. WWE FYC, for your consideration. And it was like, well, what the fuck do they want us to consider? How does WWE even fit into the Emmys? So they had a presentation where they were doing a presentation for Raw, for what was the other one? For Raw, for their WWE 24 Empowered, and for WWE Mixed Match Challenge, which I don't know if you guys watched that or not on Facebook, but that was the thing where Alexa and Braun were a team, and I think, what was it, Asuka and Miz went over together at the end of the whole thing or something weird. It was actually pretty good, and it did big numbers on Facebook. So basically they're trying to be considered for Emmys for those things, which was weird. But Stephanie McMahon came out, did a great presentation the whole time. She was the moderator the whole time. This was kind of like those Paley events, where you have a panel of people that come out, they talk about their show, they show some video and whatnot. Super cool. The New Day came out, did some comedy stuff at the very beginning to introduce Steph. Steph came out. She put on a package from The Rock, which was kind of interesting, though Rock was stumbling and fumbling through his whole thing on set, and they didn't really edit it. It was not as smooth as some of his other stuff, but it was completely unrehearsed. I mean, he's just talking off the head, just a lot of ums and ers and ahs. But, one of the biggest movie stars in the world was part of their presentation, not on stage, on a video package. Then they brought out Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Charlotte. It was crazy. And Roman Reigns. And Charlotte looked great. I don't care what anybody says. Charlotte looked great that day. That was in that panel. That panel was talking about Raw. Obviously, Shawn was able to talk about the very first Raw since he's that freaking old. And H wasn't very far behind him, believe it or not. And then Charlotte and Roman were able to talk about the new stuff. Roman, thoroughly uninteresting, boring, exactly what you would expect. Charlotte was great. And Charlotte really kind of spoke from the heart about how weird it was for her coming in, everyone looking at her to kind of take on her dad's legacy, but then to have actually earned her dad's respect during that whole process and to now kind of be her own entity was pretty cool to hear and very truthful, and I thought was very interesting. Triple H was interesting too. Then the second one, they brought out the real life Uso family, Naomi and her beau, her Uso, and Alexa and Braun came out, and Alexa and Braun kind of stole the show. That girl just has so much personality. Braun had a lot of personality. Their chemistry on stage together was awesome. It's really cool. But what really stole the show is they started talking about that WWE 24 Empower thing, and they brought out a ton of the women's division, including Nia. I can't even remember who all was out there, but Ronda Rousey comes out last, and Ronda Rousey stole the show. She had this drop neck pantsuit thing on that looked amazing, like best she's looked since she was doing magazine covers like 4 years ago. And Steph hit her with a couple of pretty hard questions, and it did not seem rehearsed at all. Ronda sounded a little irritated at first, as one would expect. And you kind of thought, oh, God, here we go. It's the Ronda thing again. This is going to be tragic and awful, and just another case of why Ronda isn't ready for prime time. But then Ronda got into the difference between being in WWE and being in UFC or judo tournaments, and how she knew when she walked out at WrestleMania that this was different. And when she walked out at Royal Rumble, it was different because the energy was mostly positive. It wasn't this like fight thing. She wasn't going in there to fight for her life or defend herself. Like, she knew what she was going in there to do, and she got so much positive energy off of it and so much positive vibe. And I'm sure the video's out there on the internet somewhere. But it was really refreshing to hear the real Ronda talking about real things and why she personally feels so much better off in WWE than she was fighting. It really got me back on her side. It made me want to see her succeed. Now, my biggest problem with it is Ronda can't forget what got her there. They were talking about all this women's empowerment stuff and all these firsts, and how Ronda was the first woman to do this, that, and the other thing, and the first woman to hold a UFC belt, and the first woman to, they're going to find firsts for her. But she has to figure out how to stay hungry. When you look at her promos and you look at what's going on with her in WWE right now, where she doesn't look credible, like her match at Mania looked good because I think she cared about it. And I think where she doesn't look good is when she's got to do these promos and these walkouts. They got to figure out a way to get her into her motivations for her scenes. Like, the acting part of it is what she's really got to figure out. Like, how to take that natural character, that natural enthusiasm, and turn it into a promo and keep it consistent. She can't go from mean mugging to smiling like that she's having the time of her life, because she is, and make it work. She's got to have more consistency of character. So she got to, in my opinion, she's got to dance with what brought her. She has to find that passion, that fire, that fury that she had when she was a UFC champ. It's the reason why she lost the UFC championship in the first place too. She lost that fire. She was doing too much publicity. She was doing too much press. She was doing too much of being the face of UFC, and it did kill her, and she had every right and every reason to leave. And she also has every right to be getting inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame this year, which she is now. They officially announced it. She's going into the UFC Hall of Fame in the modern wing, and completely 100% deserves it. But she is exactly where everyone thinks she is. And it is WWE's responsibility to figure out how to make her into the character of Ronda Rousey and not act to be the actual Ronda Rousey when she goes out there. They've got to figure it out. They've got to crack it soon. And Nia Jax is not the way to do it. Nia is wonderful. I loved a lot of the things that Nia had to say. Nia has her own battles to fight. She is in a little bit of the same boat, though, where they still have to figure out how to present her the right way to the audience and how to get her to stay in character. To me, at this point, it's a little too transparent that outside of the ring, Nia and Alexa are both really nice, awesome girls that are the best friends in the world. and that is absolutely 100% not their characters on television, and it's translating through too much to TV, and it's hurting the whole thing. They got to figure this stuff out. They got to figure these girls out. They got to give them characters, and they got to make it a priority. You know, they've spent 5 fucking years on Roman Reigns now, and it still hasn't done anything, and they haven't put even half that effort into some of these girls. And they gotta divert some of the resources to that now.
You think the Total Divas show is getting in the way of that?
A minor bit, but not a ton. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
or do you think the audiences are too? I mean, I met someone recently who, when I mentioned I was going to go to a wrestling show, she was all, "Oh, I love so and so." Started talking about Nikki Bella and Ava Marie and Total Divas or whatever. Doesn't watch wrestling, and I mean, I personally have an issue with a lot of the kayfabe sort of stuff. How it's all fake, but I kind of think the audiences are separate.
But I think you can break kayfabe all day long if once you get in front of the camera. I mean, like, look, we were just talking about the Chris Jericho thing.
Yeah.
Like I hear Chris Jericho on podcasts and stuff all the time. Like he was talking about the NHL playoffs with Ted Irvin on keeping it 100 and whatnot. Like, you know, he's outside of the kayfabe all the time. But everything that he's done on camera with New Japan, with his promos leading up to this match was perfect. And pitch perfect and was well thought out. And I don't know if it was just him or if it was the guys backstage or who was helping out with it. But look, WWE is not a small company. There's a lot of very smart professional people there that know how to do these things and do them well. Like, why? I just don't think they're doing them. Like,
execution.
And Ronda Rousey is a big ticket item. She is a real star. Stephanie's not wrong. When Ronda came out at the end of Royal Rumble and that presentation or whatever was big. And when she put Triple H up on her shoulders at WrestleMania, that's big. But what is the story of Ronda? Where is it going? Are they going to pair her up with her 4 horsewomen? Are they going to have her be a badass? Is she really the fun-loving girl that's happy to be there, that just will squash anyone that crosses her path? Like the mixed message ho-hum story that they're building with Nia is just not working for me. And they gotta find something else. And honestly, it should be a personal motivation. It shouldn't be about whoever she's feuding with. They gotta build the Ronda character first. She should be squashing out other people. They should put jobbers in front of her right now. They need to Goldberg it up a little bit, except give her more character and personality. Like, look at what built her in the UFC. Just bring that story to WWE to start it off. Let her tear through a bunch of people. Let her be great. And then build some of the other more intricate things.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. I don't know.
One of the things with her as well is a case of, like you're saying, let her eat people up. It's a case of, like, their whole storyline was that Stephanie and Triple H didn't like, they were just using her to get money or whatever, or the publicity, and they were against her. So let that continue a little bit in the fact that they go, all right, you may have beaten us, but you had Kurt Angle. We're going to make you wrestle jobbers every week. So it's also a frustration thing. She's like, I'm better than these people. Why am I having to face these people all the time?
Dude, you're hired.
Not only is she crushing them, but at the same time,
go write Raw tomorrow, because that's the best idea I've heard for her yet. Like, you just gave me motivation. You gave me something to fill time on screen for a 3-hour show. Dear Lord, all I can hope is that when SmackDown goes to Fox, that Raw leaves USA. I think that is the biggest hope for all of us. Even if it stays in the NBC Universal whatever family, put it on a different network so that they have a chance to go back to 2 hours. If you had a 2-hour Raw on Monday and a 2-hour SmackDown on Friday, God, I think that would solve half of these problems immediately. I really, really do. They got to find a way to not have that show be 3 hours long.
Back to back really does not help.
Yeah, it's killing them.
It's too much.
And that being said, maybe Ronda should be on SmackDown right now too. Trying to have her fill headlining segments on the 3-hour show where you have to have these brutally long promos. I think it's been killing Nia for a better portion of a year now. And I think look, some of them can do it. Alexa Bliss can do it.
I would put her on the show.
I thought Charlotte was doing fine with it. I thought Sasha didn't. I thought Bayley does okay on Raw. Like, I think Raw fits certain talent better than others. You've got to be able to go and handle yourself for a 15-minute promo, even if that promo's dismal. Ronda can't do that. Nia can't do that. Alexa can do that. Mickie James can do that. Becky Lynch could probably do that. I don't think Natalya can do that. Natty doesn't interest me for 50 minutes. She just can't. I don't know. It's a tough road. Did anybody see the Han Solo movie? I'm just curious.
No.
You guys didn't go see it, so it's such a shame.
I didn't even realize it was out yet. Because there's so much shit. My main point. I'm gonna get this in and out of the way. I fucking hated all of the new ones. I can't stand them. I think they're shit. The acting's been terrible. The story's been terrible. Everything about them has been garbage, apart from some bits. But this film has come out 6 months, a year after?
No, 6 months, man. Like, not even a whole half a year.
I remember last year when they were talking about the Solo movie, and everyone's like, "Oh, we could really want a Solo movie," and it wasn't even happening. And then now, you were like, "Oh, I want to see it." I was like, "Really? I thought that was like a year away still."
Yeah, and they shot the whole thing twice. They had the original directors, fired them, brought Ron Howard in, and he had to reshoot 70% of the movie for his name to get the main director credit. So basically, they made this movie twice, and it still came out in that time frame. But I liked it, and I just really think it's a shame that so many people didn't go see it. And I think there's a million reasons why. I think it's backlash to people not really liking the last Star Wars movie, which I think they did botch with Luke. I think outside of Luke's storyline, I didn't have any problem with the last Star Wars movie, but I thought the Luke storyline was not done right. But this movie was not that. It was everything I ever thought that a Han Solo standalone movie should be. And Alden Ehrenreich, or whatever his name is, he gets a little bit of shit for some people for not being Harrison Ford, but he's not Harrison Ford. I wasn't expecting him to be. I expected him to live in the spirit of the character and give it kind of his own play. I thought Donald Glover did better at that with Lando Calrissian than the kid who played Han Solo, but I also didn't take any offense to anything he did with the Han Solo character. I just thought I just hope people give it a chance. So, and we have a podcast, so this is my forum to say those kind of things. So I'm using this forum to say, hey, give Han Solo a chance.
Mask Mayhem, the premier anti-pedophile show for all things Star Wars related.
And Melissa Villaseñor should go on a date with Byron Turk if she wants to. Hashtag
Melissa Villaseñor.
I don't know. I was going to even talk about the Mass Republic video game thing and the comic book.
There's another thing.
Yeah.
That happened in Mass Republic. I don't know if you saw today.
Oh.
So someone's running shows in Baltimore and New York. They use the new Mass Republic little logo, but they haven't paid. They had Atlantis, Mil Muertes or Ricky Banderas. A load of these big name lucha guys, they've not paid nearly half of them, if not 70% of them. No hotels, no return flights to Mexico. But they also use the Mass Republic. So a lot of people...
And they stole intellectual property. They didn't license.
Yeah. Which is, a minimum of
$250,000. I wish someone stole my property so I could make that money off of them.
Can someone steal an MMMshow shirt?
Well, yes, but when those cases go to court, they also have to prove that by using that intellectual property that they made money from it.
But
sometimes they will punitively fine people that have inappropriately used them, but there's also been a lot of cases where punitive fines are not imposed because the use of the trademark information was not something that actually made anyone any money. So, I mean, there's a little bit of burden to it. But yeah, I saw the whole thing, and basically the whole thing is jacked up. Like, y'all got blindsided. And what I want to know, though, is did they use the MR name to get those talent booked? As if MR had something to do with it? Because that's what's real shady. It's like if you're saying that you're affiliated with Mass Republic, which is a company that a lot of luchadors trust because Mass Republic helps luchadors make money. If you're going to say you're associated with them and then pull the wool over the luchadors' eyes, it's one thing to do it to the public, but it's another thing to like actually be in the business and fucking with workers like that. That's jacked up. Like workers are not marks. You don't treat a worker like a mark.
I've not been rude to anybody here, but some of the guys might have even just been shown like, oh yeah, this is like kind of, you know, they could use that logo anywhere and they could have just been tricked by that, not even saying Mass Republic. Some guys might have just looked at them, oh shit, like...
I want to interrupt the British guy talking and give a shout out to Brian in the chat room. What's up, brother? All right, keep going.
No, it's all right. I was just saying, like, you don't know if they've just... Some of those guys will actually just see the... logo and go, oh shit, Mass Republic's doing it.
Yeah.
But it's right in the center, isn't it? Like dead center, massive.
That's just messed up. But so yeah, we'll carry over some of the MR conversation to next week too, because I really want to discuss some of it with Casey. They're doing a comic book and they're trying to get together a video game thing. Two things that I know Casey and Byron both probably have strong opinions on. Byron probably more about the video game, but I love it. I love that they're trying. I love that they're in the Wild West where they might get their ass handed to them, or it might be a complete success. I don't know. The video game thing seems really tricky. The comic book thing, maybe not so much. And every week somebody's asking about those Lucha Underground comics. This is basically in that same style, involving a lot of those same people, and it could be very interesting. Yeah, Jagos, go to luchacentral.com, and there's a banner up at the top. It tells you about it. Basically, they're taking a survey right now to see what people would be interested in, but they're trying to kind of come up with their own video game, since Mass Republic and Lucha Central kind of have the intellectual property rights to help out a lot of luchadors. So by creating a game that when rights come available to certain luchadors, they could be involved in or be characters in or be a part of, would be very interesting. And my personal hope is I almost hope that they can get something going, maybe now with Conan's involvement with a lot of people, with AAA and Lucha Underground, to include some of those characters. I mean, get MGM involved. MGM has an interactive department too. Like if they could actually do something along those lines where they're kind of at the forefront of doing it, but then, some of the IP comes from Lucha Libre, FMV, or AAA or wherever, that would be badass. And I think that would give them enough juice to make it work. But the game playability and all that stuff, that's a whole nother level. That's some hard shit. Comic books are coming soon though. The comic books look dope. So go to luchacentral.com, check out the stories on those. And we'll talk more about it next week as well. This week, look, we only touched on it a little bit in the middle of the show, but this week is all about the return of Lucha Underground. We will be discussing that show this week. We will be doing a review of that. We will be getting more Lucha Underground related guests on this show in the near future. We're going to continue to be the premier podcast about Lucha Underground. Don't care what anybody else says out there. Don't care if we were first, last, second, 31st. We are the premier podcast about Lucha Underground, period. And there's a lot of people that I'm really excited for you guys to see on Lucha Underground this year. Can't wait to see what happens with Cross. Can't wait to see what they do with Cobra Moon and the Reptile Tribe. Can't wait to see. I shouldn't say I can't wait. I can't wait for you to see. I've seen a lot of it.
I can't wait to talk to all the wrestlers after watching them do what they're gonna do.
Well, some of them we've been holding off on too. It's like we could talk to them tomorrow, but then they can't say anything. They can't say anything. So, and we've got episode 100 coming up soon. We're gonna try to put together some fun stuff for that. It's gonna be fun. It's going to be fun. Yeah, I will, like a few people have hit me up to come back on the show, but I want to wait till we get to some of their storyline stuff in Lucha Underground, like Famous B, like Thunder Rosa, a.k.a. Cobra Moon, having her back. There's a few other people that, and some new guests too that we want to have back when they debut or when they're their information happens. And there's a couple that I'm working on that haven't debuted yet that I'm really hoping we can get on the show. There's a real big one that is a definite maybe. I'd say it's about at 70% that I think would blow the roof off for you guys. And I'm working on
strong chance, I believe.
That I'm working on for maybe a month and a half into the season, which is when the storyline should be cooking.
I'm very hopeful.
So I'm excited for it, though. I know what's going to happen on this week's episode. I think that everyone's going to be very interested. And I will say this. Here's your spoiler from me. This season of Lucha Underground is going to start off very differently from previous seasons. They're coming in hot. They're coming in on fire. It's going to be a different approach to starting off a season of Lucha Underground. They got less episodes this year, so they're going to jumpstart it, and they're going to get right into this damn thing. There's going to be a lot to talk about after this very, very first episode. So come back, see us here, Mass Mats and Mayhem. We will have lots of good things to say about season 4. You guys got anything else you want to throw in?
I want to go eat a steak and drink a lot of bourbon.
Steak calm and stay in the mix?
Steak calm and bourbon in the mix on the rocks. Hey, if anyone out there is on Clematis Street, I'm going to be going to the Alchemist to eat dinner, and I'll be signing autographs until the food shows up.
Well, I've made a whole crock pot full of my special short ribs today to go along with my roasted Israeli couscous salad, which will be phenomenal.
Must be nice.
I don't need to go to restaurants to eat like a king.
Well, you know, some of us live a lonely life.
Well,
my cat doesn't cook.
Look.
Get the hashtag.
Thanks to everybody who joined in the chat room. Paul, Zeus, Jagos, Rebecca.
Oh, no, we got to stop for a second. Jagos
racist fan, Brian Cervantes
in the chat room.
The homie
says that you made him hard.
Jagos said that?
Yeah.
Again?
Oh, well.
You know. Also, guys, check out Mark Out Mania. I need to go back and listen to that episode from yesterday. I was very busy yesterday, but I'm going to go back and check it out. But the last couple episodes I listened to have been awesome. Those guys reminiscing and talking about all the stuff that made wrestling so great for all of us. That's my new favorite guilty pleasure podcast, Mark Out Mania. Everybody check it out. And like I said, we'll be back next week. Hopefully we'll get Casey and Jim here at the same time too. Jim is just a globetrotter. He's all over the place.
Jim Casey, is too busy working out and fucking.
And Casey's got his other show too. Don't forget to check out Read More Horror Comics. And until next time, stay calm and
stay in a mix.
Stay in a mix.
Stay in the mix.
This is triple sec.
Stay calm and drink the triple sec.